Hey. But yeah, no, it's too it's too done. Yeah. But you've never used bacon grease to make eggs? Well, first off, oh fuck that. Um, how do you like your eggs? Oh God. No, no. See, if you do fried eggs, or like all the kids and what they upstairs they call it the dipping eggs. So you finish your bacon, you pull your bacon out. Yeah, it's dipping eggs. It's over medium or over easy, depending, you know. But no. So then you take your bacon out, and then you fry your eggs with the bacon grease. So you've got that little bit of lube for your eggs and the bacon grease, and it gives your eggs a good flavor. Come on. Well, you're not from the South. You don't get it. Oh shit.
Never done it.
I guess it helps if I turned on your audio. Oh well.
Oh, probably. Hey,
Hey.
welcome to the Politically Incorrect Gaming Podcast. I'm Oreo. This is Q.
Episode 92.
92. For
92.
those observant folks, you'll notice that episode 90 came out after 91.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? Oops.
And for those even more observant folks, you'll realize those numbers are out of order. Yeah, things happen, but you get them both anyways. What do you
Well,
want? What do you want from us?
it's kind of my fault. Well, actually, it's 100% my fault because, well, you know what? No, it's not my fault because I'm not the one that forgot to turn the recording on.
Yeah, it's Craig's fault.
Yeah.
So,
So we'll blame Craig, and then I kind of dropped the ball because I needed to download the video from Twitch to send it to
yeah, I was
Oreo.
like, why? What the hell took so long? And then you sent it to me, and it was like 4.5 gigs. And I was like, oh, okay. What the
I mean,
fuck?
I guess I could have been a better human being and ripped the audio out of it for you, but I'm like, nah, you can do it.
Imagine if we fucking streamed this at like 1080p. That shit would have been like 15 gigs.
Oh, I know. I'm already streaming it at. I don't know. What am I streaming it at? Like
Mm.
720, I think. Might even be less. It might even be less than that now.
860.
Yeah,
It says you're streaming 860. I don't know if it's true or not, but
I think it is. I believe that's what it's supposed to be. Because I made some like drastic changes to my stream to fix some issues.
it looks all
Um,
right though.
yeah, it looks great now. I'm really happy with it. Yeah, 860 is what I'm streaming at. It's
Hmm.
860 at 30 frames a second. The biggest issue I was trying to stream in 1080 at 60 frames, and this computer just wasn't doing it. I'm so washed out by this light. There we go. So anyway, what's up? How you been?
All right, kinda. Well, I don't know. I think I've been all right.
I
You
know.
know, you know when you start getting old,
Yeah,
there's like a few signs, right? You get excited about like new appliances.
yeah.
You put tomatoes and onions on things.
I don't do onions,
Uh,
but yeah, tomatoes. Yeah.
okay, so you're not that old yet.
Well, no, I can't do. Well, no, I'm old because of the reason why I don't do onions. If I eat a
Oh,
lot of onions, I get really bad heartburn.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
See
so
that,
yeah, no onions.
and then the other thing, any little thing that you get, you start wondering, am I dying?
Yeah. Yep.
So I've had this thing 2 or 3 times in the last like week,
Okay.
where like uh, I get like dizzy.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, so it starts like that. And then I can't figure out, because I don't think I've ever had an anxiety attack. But after I get dizzy, then I'm like, fuck, I'm blacking out. I can't breathe. I got to sit down and breathe for a second. And then
Uh,
I can't tell if it's my own mind doing it or if there's actually something going on or what the fuck.
well, I can tell you from experience that is probably with a good degree of certainty, it probably is an anxiety attack. And the reason why I say that, and here we go, we're sharing this is like the old person's podcast now. The old politically incorrect gamers. But back 2 Novembers ago, um,
Mm.
I started having really weird feelings in my chest. Like it felt like it felt like my heart was just couldn't decide like what rhythm it wanted to beat,
Yeah.
and it scared me. It scared me pretty bad because I'm like the heart's not supposed to be doing that.
No.
So I made an appointment with the doctor that month. This was happening on like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I made a doctor's appointment first thing Monday morning because I'm like I don't know what this is.
It
So
just kept going like every day, every day.
well, no, it would come and go. Like it would
Oh,
just it would,
okay.
and there
But
was
just several days in a row.
yeah, and it wasn't to me it didn't make any sense because a lot of times when it would happen, um,
Yeah.
I wasn't like exerting myself. I wasn't doing a lot of physical activity. I might have been like the Saturday that I made the decision that something needed to be done. I was driving the car doing DoorDash, and I was like, something's not right. Like I stopped dashing because of it. But anyway, so I go to the doctor, and the doctor's like, let's put you on some anxiety meds. Just see.
Mm.
And she started me on some meds, and that's been, like I said, that was two Novembers ago, and I think since then, I think I've had one incident where that was a thing, and
Yeah.
that was mostly because um, I had missed a dose,
Mm.
and then I've been kind of having some more of those issues here lately, but a lot of it has to do with I changed my meds. The meds I was on were working great. Didn't have any problems. I've never felt as good as I felt taking those meds. But I've gained so much weight. Like I've put on from that November until about 2 months ago, I gained like 40 pounds. And like,
They slow down, fuck with your metabolism
I
or something,
guess
or
I don't know. I mean, like my nothing in my habits have changed. Like everything has
yeah.
stayed the same, and I've put on 40 pounds. So I went to my doctor and I was like, these meds are working great. I feel amazing. But I can't do this. I can't keep
Mm.
gaining weight. So she switched me to some other meds, and the dosage wasn't right. So I
Mm.
had a couple of incidents after I switched. She upped my dosage, and um, I feel like I'm right on the edge sometimes of having a panic attack. Like I'm right there,
Yeah.
but it's almost like my mind is like, "Nah, you're good. You're fine," and then I'm good. But so I'm thinking about maybe having her change my dosage again because maybe it's still not quite right.
Maybe not.
Yeah, but
Huh.
definitely talk to your doctor. Like all
Yeah.
jokes
See,
and
that's where I get.
yeah.
That's because I'll be like, oh crap, and then I'll be like, no, I'm just fine. You're okay. And then it kind of goes away. But like,
Well, I guess we can get.
I don't know.
I'll get really personal on this one. So about 6 years ago, one of my friends in the 501st,
Yeah.
he was either a year younger than me or a year older than me, so we were pretty much the same age, and he literally just fell over dead at his cousin's house, which his cousin they were like brothers,
Mm.
and he just literally he was fine, and then he fell over dead, and his heart had stopped, and we found out later that he had what was called a descending aortic aneurysm, which is the big vein that runs from your heart down your back, um, basically flayed open like long ways,
Oh,
and he bled out from
from
it.
what? Just
It's usually it's a genetic thing. It's
huh.
just and it's one of those things where you don't know you've got it until it happens, and the
Yeah.
survival rate is 10% because most of the time it goes undiagnosed, and it happens so suddenly that you can't get to the hospital in time before when you realize you're having an issue. But his only his only symptom was leading up to it. He said he had a really really bad backache. He just had a lot of back pain,
Oh,
and so he just took some ibuprofen and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna be fine," and dropped over. And that was that's pretty much what happens when you have this incident. But it's incredibly rare. It's like 1 in 2 million is the chance of you having it, so it's incredibly rare. But
Yeah.
from that point forward, anytime I would have back pain, even though
Yeah. You'd always wonder.
yeah, but
Yeah.
even though I knew that it's like, oh, I did a lot of heavy lifting today, of course my back is hurting. Or like today, I'm going to sit in this chair for a couple hours in the gaming chair, and I'm like, my back is going to hurt after that because I need to replace it. But
Yeah.
I would have these pains, and I would immediately like it would trigger anxiety, and it was almost uncontrollable. Well, it was uncontrollable anxiety, but that was another issue that I was having along with the heart issues, and
Yeah.
the doctor put me on some anxiety medication or like anxiety depression meds, and overnight,
Just helped a lot.
yeah, like I still get I still get back pain because I'm getting old,
Yeah.
but
But
I
you
can,
don't immediately think that
No.
it's something else.
Nope.
See, what I think is really going on. Okay, so I'm not wearing these glasses right now. I think you can see them on
Yeah.
the screen. You should be able to. Because randomly I was wearing them, and one of the nose things just fell off, and I was like, "Oh, neat,
oh
cool,
no, that sucks.
fucking awesome." So I switched back to these glasses, which are,
Probably not
you know,
not the best prescription for you, like an old prescription.
they're like a couple years old prescription, but there's also some scratches on this one, like right where you look,
Yeah.
like on the lens itself, and I can't fix it, so I need to order some new ones. And I order them online. I don't go to I don't get them from a place for like 400 or $500. I get like 8 pairs for that much.
I get the cheap ones that my insurance covers.
Yeah,
So
I just order them online. I can get them from anywhere from like 20 to, if I want to get super fancy, like $80. But
Well, my problem is that I did that here about a year ago. I just started wearing glasses within the last like 3 years,
yeah,
and a lot of the places that I go to work, you have to wear safety glasses. So it's either I have to get like the really big safety glasses that go over top of your glasses.
oh yeah, or prescription ones.
Right. So I went online and I found a website that was literally called $59glasses.com. And it was like all of these styles are like $59 base. So I found this pair of safety glasses that I liked. They looked good. I mean, they looked good.
Yeah.
And I paid like $75 for them.
So not $59. So false advertising.
Well, I bought some upgrades. Like I bought the,
oh, okay.
yeah,
All right.
if you get just the basic base pair of glasses, it's $59. But
Okay,
if you
so we don't need to call them out. It's okay.
No, they're really good. Like I've been really, I've gotten other stuff from them, and some of the other guys at work have used them, so they're worth it. But I bought these
Yeah.
pair of safety glasses because I liked them. I think hashtag not sponsored. Hey, my chat works now. But anyway, when I got them, I hate the way they sit on my face. Like they are so uncomfortable to wear because I guess maybe my ears sit up a little bit higher than what these glasses were designed for. So when I wear them,
yeah.
it kind of like tips them down a little bit, and just
So they're barely safety glasses?
yeah. I mean, if I push them all the way up against my face, then yeah, I can wear them. But it's just so uncomfortable wearing them. So it's just like, oh man, I have such a hard time buying stuff online like that I can't try on first. So
Yeah. Well, that's the hardest part with glasses. Sometimes I'll order 2 or 3 because they're cheap. And then I'll be like, all right, these are the good ones. Because I can't send them back because they make them in your prescription. you
Well, I
can't
mean,
send them back.
if you drop like $80 and you get 3 or 4 pairs of glasses, then yeah. It's absolutely worth it because that's what.
Well, and I have them for like cases like this where. So I just need to order some. I just haven't gone on there because after Christmas, all the catch up after Christmas and everything, and
God.
we're right on the cusp of getting taxes back. And
I know.
this is right when your car has all the problems. Both my cars are acting weird.
I'll tell you my
Both-
problem shortly.
Yeah, both of them, like the driver's side locks don't work anymore on both of my cars. Like in the same week, they both stopped working. And then on my wife's car, one of the struts is literally gone. Like she came home, and you know how wives are. The car's making noise. I'm like, yeah, cars do that. They make noises.
Wait, the problem.
And she's like, no. it's a bad noise though. I'm like, you say that about every little thing. Cars aren't silent.
At least she's telling you that, or like now. because
Yeah.
Heather's good for it, so I'm not worried about her. But other girls that I've dated in the past would be like, "Oh, my car's
Oh, they
making this."
just yeah,
Yeah,
turn up the radio.
my car's making this funny sound. Like, okay, so I drive it for her, and it's obviously something like that. And I was like, "How long has it been doing this?" Oh, I don't know, 6, 7 months.
Yeah.
Like,
No, my wife's on the other end. She every little noise.
yeah,
I'm like, no,
Heather's good for it
that's
too.
fine. That's a fine noise. But no, that it is one of the struts are gone, so I'm gonna have to replace just both. I'll just have to do both of them.
Yeah,
So that'll be fun. But that's a few $100s. I've been doing it myself.
yeah, yeah, and
It'd
it's
be a
with
few thousand if I had somebody else do it,
oh,
but
absolutely. Well, I bought a car this past week or 2 weeks ago.
oh yeah, you guys got a new one. Well, new to you
Yeah,
guys.
new to us, which was fine.
Yeah.
But it has an automatic transmission, and the automatic transmission clutch went out in it. Like,
Oh, on the new one
yeah, on
that
the
you
new
just
one,
got.
on the new one, just got it, 25,000 miles on it, and, the clutch goes out, and I mean I'm angry, and I go to the uh, that's correct, yeah, the I took it back to the dealer, and I'm like, I literally just bought this car. Like, I've had it, I think it was 8 days. Like, what is this? And so they drive it, and they're like, oh yeah, this is a problem. And apparently, that particular year and model of the Ford Focus had transmission problems, and it was a problem with the computer was not telling the clutch to disengage at the right time in the RPMs.
Oh, so just wear it out.
Yep, it wore it out in 25,000 miles. And I was like, is there not a recall on this? And like, well, yeah, there's a recall on it, but it expired last year. I was like, fuck.
When you guys had the car.
Yeah, well, they had the car maybe a week before I bought it. And so I'm like, it's like, you guys got me. What is this going to cost? And they're like, well, it's probably going to cost $1,800 to $2,000. I'm like, you may as well take the car back. I mean, I don't, I literally talked you down $2,000, and
Yeah.
I don't have it. Like, I gave you I gave you a vehicle as a trade-in. That's all I had. I needed it. Our other Ford had right at 250,000 miles on it, and the head gasket was blown. The engine was blown. Like, it was time to get rid of that Ford.
Yeah.
But so I talked to the service manager, I talked to the sales manager, and ended up talking to the guy that was over that dealership. And I'm like, you got to do something for me. Like, that's the number one. I came back to you guys to buy a second car, which I've never done before. And this car only has 25,000 miles on it. How did you not catch this? And if how did you not know there was a recall on it? And how did you not address it? Like, you're a Ford dealer.
Yeah.
And so I bitched, and they finally decided that they were like, look, we'll pay for half. Like, we can't pay for the whole thing because you bought it as is, but we'll pay for half. And I'm like, that's better than where I was. So all the money that I had saved up after Christmas, and we was getting ready to pay off all the Christmas credit cards and like everything else,
Yeah.
gone. Fuck.
Yeah. It's like your car knows.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Cars know that it's time now for me to be a fuck. And you're like, you couldn't have done this 2 months ago when I had money. You fuck.
But I mean, the last vehicle we had, we bought it when it had like 13,000 miles on it, and we bought it like 2 or 3 months before Izzy was born. And so
Yeah.
we've had it all this time, and I mean, it's been everywhere. So in less than 10 years, we put almost 250,000 miles on the vehicle. So I'm like, I haven't had to put any money into it except when one of the twins hit a deer, and I didn't realize that the transmission cooler was leaking. And like 2 months after the deer, my transmission started to fuck up, and I realized, oh, it's leaking out fluid. So I had to replace that. But yeah, so I mean, it was a good vehicle, and I loved it. But it was time to turn it in.
This one you haven't had a week and you're already
Yeah.
putting money into it.
Yeah, and I'm like, this isn't good. Like, I'm not.
Yeah. It's not a good sign.
No, that's what worries me. But I mean, it was kind of my fault. I should have done more due diligence on it. But I mean, I test drove it for like half an hour. So I feel like it, half an hour driving it. And I mean, we're talking, I jumped it on the interstate and got off the interstate, went through town, back on the interstate. So I mean, I
Yeah.
really drove it and everything seemed fine. And, I Googled recalls and stuff for the year and model, and there was nothing active. So, the Carfax had nothing on it. But yeah, it was after the fact. And I'm just like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So,
It's unfortunate. Too bad.
yeah, pretty much. Too bad. So, but that's all right. We got it fixed, and it didn't have, and it's a good car. I mean, it's better than what we had. Heather came to me and she goes, yeah, I think it's got a miss. She goes, I feel like it's misfiring. I'm like, okay, all right. So it's like, well, I hadn't changed the plugs or the coil packs in 100,000 miles. It's probably that. So I ordered new coil packs and went to bought new spark plugs and pulled out 2 of the spark plugs, and they were just covered in oil.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, fuck.
Yeah, it's not good.
So I was like, well, maybe if I'm going to clean them all up, and I made me a little tool and cleaned the inside of the spark plug cylinder and got everything cleaned up and put everything back in. I'm like, that should buy me a little bit of time. No, it didn't. It was immediately bad again. I'm like, God, fuck. So it was like, yeah, we got to get rid of this. So, is what it is. But no, I totally understand. So
Yeah,
anyway,
no, it's just
so looping it
it's
back
the
around.
it's the bad time for us poor people.
Yeah.
That 2 month period that sucks, and money's coming.
Yeah, exactly.
And everything starts going wrong during that time. I mean,
But so looping it all back around, I'm assuming that you think that it's your old prescription that's causing your dizziness.
well, I think it's that, and like that thing that I think light is catching that, and I'm also getting like slight headaches just from having like the wrong prescription.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is like my brain, I'll be like doing something because I've noticed that it normally happens when I'm like trying to focus and look at something on like my phone, or like I was trying to read like some SKU numbers off of some stuff, and then I was like getting dizzy. And I think it's part of like I can't focus properly, my glasses aren't right.
Yeah. Yep.
And then now that I'm old, you're like, oh no, this is it.
Well, I definitely think you should go to the doctor just to be on the safe side, because it could be something else like that. And like I said, I went and got put on anxiety meds, and I feel
Yeah.
great. I mean, I really do. They're not as this prescription's not as good as the last med I was on, but I don't feel. I've actually lost a little bit of weight since I've changed meds, so I'm like,
Oh, that's good.
That's good. So
Yeah, I might have to look into it. If it happened like one time, it's one thing, but where it's happened like 3 or 4 times over the last like week.
have you can you check your blood pressure? Because that's sometimes high blood pressure will make you dizzy. So I mean
Yeah.
if you do randomly have high blood pressure, which I do,
I don't think we have a thing to check it, unless I went down to like Walgreens and checked it on their little thingy there.
well, and that's not going to do you any good because you want to check it when you're having the episode.
I know, and I can't run down there and check it.
Yeah, you run down there, you're already going to have a high blood pressure anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I totally get
Well, and
it.
I don't think I've ever had a high blood pressure. I've like notoriously my whole life, every time they've checked it, I've really low pressure, and heart rate is always like really low.
Well, that's good. I wish I could say that, but
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, and my some of my veins aren't great either. Like they always they always have to get me like the really good nurse that knows what the hell they're doing, because the rest of them just can't hit it. They just
Oh.
can't do it.
you see, I don't have that problem. Like I'm just like hit me wherever, and like I don't care, and like
Yeah, I've had a few times they just couldn't. They had to do the back of the hand.
Oh,
That fucking
yeah,
hurt so
that's the
bad.
worst.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
only thing that was worse than that was when I worked for the medical equipment company. We also had a home health side, so we had a lot of home health nurses. And
Yeah.
my boss, his wife was the director of nursing for the company. And so whenever it came, like we would go over to the home health office to get our flu shots and stuff like that. And I went in there for a flu shot one time. And we were talking about needles and one of the nurses was like, yeah, it's crazy how many people are scared of needles. And I'm like, I mean, it doesn't really bother me. So once I said that it doesn't really bother me, the director of nursing, my friend's boss, came in and she goes, "Oh, you're not scared of needles?" I'm like, no, not really. She goes, "Cool. I need some help." I'm like, okay. So I was immediately like, okay.
I'm a little scared
Yeah.
of needles.
Yeah. Now I'm a little scared of needles. But no, so when they do the TB test, where they do the little pip test where they put the testing stuff under your skin and it bubbles, and if it turns
Yeah.
black, you've got TB or whatever. So she convinced me. Well, she was paying me $100 to do it, but for $100, I would let the younger nurses practice doing the pip test on my arm. So I would have like 4 on each arm at any given time. So, but it was like $100 a pop, and for someone that had just turned 21, $100 was exactly what you needed. So
Yeah, $20 is $20.
exactly. But then she was doing a clinic, and she was doing this thing for all these nurses, and they were talking about ways to rehydrate your patients if they're having any issues or whatnot, and they were doing the it was absolutely unethical, but it was $100. I was there.
Yeah, I don't know if you're supposed to have 4 of those going at once either. I don't know if that.
Probably not, but I mean, maybe that's why I'm on the medication. Who knows? But she convinced me, because she paid me $300, and they did the shin catheter, where they actually go into the shin bone to put a PICC line. And I did it for 2 reasons. Well, I guess really 3. Well, first off, I was 21, so nothing can stop you when you're that age. You're unstoppable. Number 2, she paid
Superman.
me. Yeah. Number 2, she paid me $300.
Okay,
and
get the money.
Yep. And number 3, all of the nurses were cute. So I was absolutely.
Okay, so you did it for one reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Those other reasons are what you told yourself later on.
I didn't.
That's how you justified it after the fact.
I don't know if you know what that entails when they do the PICC line into your shin bone, but they have to.
I've never had it in my shin bone. I've had it in my armpit, a PICC line.
Yeah. Well, this one they actually put into the bone. It has to go into the bone, and they have to. They use a special needle thing, and it goes in, and they literally have to thread a hole in the bone into like the marrow section to do the IV.
It sounds painful.
I cannot put into words the pain that came from that. It was.
Yeah.
I mean, I am not less of a man to say I cried like a bitch.
Yeah.
It hurt, and $300 and the cute nurses
Was not enough.
Was not enough. Not enough to never. I'll never do that
man.
again. But I mean, I did make $300, but I couldn't walk for like 2 days. So
And you reminded me of all the good time. I say good times. I can only think of one good time, but when I was in the hospital from when I had Crohn's and they had to take out a bunch of my intestines, I had the PICC line in my armpit.
Oh.
And that was cool. I had to keep it with me, and I had to like try and shower with it and stuff because I was in there for like a week.
Ooh.
But there was one cute nurse, and I'll never forget. Her name was Xenon. And I was like, Xenon, that's such a fucking.
That's a cool name.
But man, how old was I? I think I was like 17 or 18 or something. I think I was 18. No, I can't remember. Because now that I'm thinking about it, what she said next. Okay, she's a nurse, but she asked if I needed help and wanted a sponge bath. I was like, oh no, thank you. Now I can't remember how old I was.
Yeah, that would have been no way. No.
Yeah, I was like, no, that's not gonna go well. Even though I'll never forget it, but it won't go well. But
because at the end of the day, you're gonna feel like you owe her like extra for this. So no.
Yeah, something.
No.
Yeah, I was like, no, thank you, no.
Oh well,
Yeah,
welcome to the medical edition of Pigs Pod. I don't think we've ever had a medical edition. We've had pretty much everything else.
Pretty much, I don't know. We cover all bases here.
So we started a little late I'm almost an hour late, and that's 100% my fault. I wanted to watch the Cowboys 49ers game because if the Cowboys had won, I
Or did
would.
they lose?
Yeah, they lost.
No surprise,
Yeah,
Cowboys.
they lost in spect. I mean, they kept it close. I mean, it was a 7 point game at the end,
Hmm.
but and it came down to like Dak needing to an 80-yard drive in less than a minute to be able to do it, and so it's not going to happen. But
No.
the very last play they set up for this, they were on like the 30-yard, their own 30, and so they send all the receivers are out. They draw the defense drops all of their defenders back, and I think they had Zeke as the center, so I think the thought was to snap it and throw it to someone, and then Zeke's right there for the lateral. That's what I
Yeah.
think was the plan. But Dak drops back, throws a dart to whomever the receiver was, and he just gets smoked like Goldberg speared to the ground, and it was over. But if the Cowboys had won, I would have
Yeah.
been convinced that we were in the darkest timeline. So,
Because the Cowboys are winning.
because I mean, it was really getting
That's not Super Bowl bound, right? They still have to.
Yeah, that was to go to the conference champion. So,
Okay.
Yeah, so now it's the 49ers and the Eagles and the Bengals and the Chiefs. So the winner of those two games will play in the Super Bowl. So I mean, so they were close. I mean, they actually had a playoff run, which is terrifying. But and I'm no longer a Redskins fan, so I shouldn't care about that division.
You mean the football team?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Commanders or the Reskins or whatever you want to
Oh,
call them.
did they fucking call them something else?
Yeah, they're now the Washington Commanders. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's even stupider. I would have left it football.
yeah, I would
team.
have left it football. Yeah, but I'm no longer a Washington fan, so I shouldn't care about that whole conference.
Yeah.
But with that being said, just I have so many friends. I live in Virginia. That's a thing. You're either a Redskins fan or a Cowboys fan. There's almost no other fan base here in this area. That's it. And so when I decided that I'm like, fuck the Redskins, their team is trash, their front office is trash. I'm done. I can't support a team that is bad not because of the talent, but is bad because of mismanagement. Like, I'm done.
Yeah.
So that was when I decided to pick. Me and Switch Jackson, we were both Redskins fans, and I'm like, you know what? If we're gonna be fans of a shitty team, let's pick actual shitty teams to be fans of.
Didn't he pick the Jaguars or something?
He picked the Jaguars, and I picked the Raiders. So that's why we are what we are. So it's like, but even though like I have no reason to care about what happens in that division, I have so many people on my Facebook timeline and friends in real life that are diehard Cowboys fans, and I was like, they will be fucking unbearable if they even make it to the Super Bowl, let alone win.
Yeah.
So just
You'll never hear the end of it. We damn boys.
Exactly. I was just like, I just can't do it. And so luckily, the last draft, the last picked in the last year's draft, quarterback that was being paid, like I think his contract's like $700,000, beats the franchise Dallas Cowboys quarterback whose contract is $40 million. Like, why they're paying Dak Prescott $40 million is fucking beyond me. But it's fine. Keep paying him because this is the type of results that I want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's fine. So that's why we were late getting started, because I was like, I need
it's
to.
Q's fault.
100% my fault. Like
I think I've watched maybe like 10 minutes of football in the last 2 years, counting Super Bowls, and I just don't watch it anymore.
I watched the Jags and the Chiefs yesterday, and then I watched the games today. I watched I watched games today. So I've watched 3 football games this entire year.
Yeah.
which is really unusual for me because I usually will watch at least a few because me and Switch and Riker will usually do like a Xbox party chat and bullshit while we watch the game, which is actually a lot of fun. Um, but I just haven't really felt the interest to watch this year. So,
Uh,
um,
I
but
was trying to think of like what caused my disinterest, and I think it started when Ryan Shazier got hurt.
yeah. Well, you're a Steelers fan, so you really haven't had anything to be excited for in a minute.
Yeah. Well, he got hurt, and then uh, it was right around the time too we got rid of Brown and we got rid of Mike Wallace and Emmanuel Sanders and we got rid of all our talent and we had nobody left.
Yeah.
The only thing we had left was Ben, and then Ben was hurt all the time.
Well, that's because he was like
And
70.
and yeah, he's way too old. He shouldn't be playing anymore. He's all the quarterbacks now and all the stars now are like 23, 24,
Yeah.
and Ben's like 37 or some shit.
The four starting quarterbacks for the divisional championship games, so that this weekend, the division games, all four of them were between the ages of 23 and 26.
Yeah, like
So,
they're super young, so he shouldn't be playing anymore. But just was never interesting. And then it became more and more. All I ever saw about anything was people arguing about the politics or the
yeah.
this dude beat his wife or this dude did that and who's getting paid what. And like it was never even about football. It stopped being about football years ago. All anyone cares about is
Yeah.
the money and the this and the that and fucking you hear advertisements for fucking FanDuel and shit all over the place. I'm like, like all I ever hear now too about football games is, oh, this dude put $25 down and won 8,000. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I
No,
mean, that's
I totally
probably
get
super
that.
exciting for him, but like,
Yeah. I totally get that. I really do. But yeah, I just
the
haven't.
recent rule changes and like being big babies and throwing flags.
Well,
Every game I tried in the last couple years, I'm like, all right, I'll try again. And when it's a flag every other fucking play, I'm like,
yeah.
okay,
Well, and the issue that I have is the Pro Bowl for the last. I know last year, so I don't know before that, but
yeah,
last year and this year the Pro Bowl's flag football. Flag football.
basically.
No, it is no, not basically.
Oh, it is actually
It's
football?
actually flag football. Like they have the two flags that they wear, and you got to pull a flag because they don't know, but they don't want to get hurt. Like I remember back in the '90s, people were getting injured in the Pro Bowl. It's
Yeah.
like they still played. They showed up to win, and now it's like, man. I mean, granted, I get it. If you're a company and you're paying your employees millions of dollars, I can definitely see how you're like, no, you're not going to do these things because you're an investment. So
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to like it and want to enjoy it. And it's the same thing. The same thing with NASCAR.
Yeah.
And all of the drivers now have to sign a contract saying they're not going to race in other divisions or whatever. They're only going to race in whatever they're hired on to race in. Like drivers like Tony Stewart, for example, and he's one of the reasons he was the one of the reasons why they changed it. But one of my favorite things that he would do every year is during the Memorial Day weekend, he would fly down to Southern California or down in that wherever the desert is, where the Baja Desert is, and
Yeah.
he would do the 500-mile Baja race, and they would do it in one of the off-road trucks. So he would race 500 miles on like a Friday, and then he would jump on a plane and fly up to Indy and run in the
And then do
and do the Indy
Indy?
500 on Saturday, and then jump in a plane and fly down to Charlotte and do the Coca-Cola 600, all in a week.
Damn.
And like, that's badass.
Yeah.
And
More power to him. Every one of those is exhausting.
yeah, and to do it all in a weekend is just insane. And
Yeah.
so I mean, I would watch. I mean, I didn't know about the Baja until I knew, like, oh yeah, he does this every year and he runs all three races. And you're like, God damn. So I started watching it, and a few years, well, more than a few years ago, so 8 or 10 years ago, he was running one of the dirt races with the sprint cars with the huge fin on the car.
Yeah.
And he got into an altercation with another driver, and the driver got out of his car and was like standing on the track, and was flipping the finger to Tony as he was driving by, and Tony tried to like goose it to try to throw mud on him as they went by, and he lost control of the car and hit the guy and killed him.
Oh
And,
man, whoop.
yeah. So it was like, okay, did he do it on purpose? The guy shouldn't have been on the track, and it was just a whole big deal. Yeah, just don't get out of your race car, and that's basically it was a whole thing. And now they're like, nope, if you're racing in the Cup Series, that's all you can do. You can't do anything else, and it sucks. Like I love
Yeah.
watching the other drivers. In the lead up to the Daytona 500, the week before all of the Daytona festivities start. So usually it's like around this time of year, they do the 24-hour Le Mans race at Daytona, which there's a huge road course track within the Daytona Raceway, and it's 3-man teams, and you can break it up however you want to break it up, but you're racing for 24 hours, and whoever has like the most laps completed within 24 hours wins the race. And so it would be like there was one year it was Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. And they're like they would run like 3 hours and then swap. And I was like, that's hardcore. Because like I would watch it all afternoon, go to bed, wake up first thing in the morning, and they're still going.
They're still going.
And it's like holy hell. And they're not allowed to do any of that stuff anymore. And I'm like, I'm gonna watch. The Coliseum race is the first of I think it's February 5th, which is where they run in the LA Coliseum, which is basically a quarter-mile racetrack, and they put 40 cars in a quarter mile. And so that's kind of fun to watch. But I haven't watched much racing either. And I mean, I'm a redneck dude.
No.
I grew up on the racetrack at local racetracks and shit.
Well, again, that's just another sport going super corporate, and it's
Yeah.
just a lot less fun to watch.
It is incredibly corporate. And it's, I mean, some of the changes that they've made to the cars, a lot of their old school fans and drivers are like, oh, it's fuel injection now and not carbureted, and they've got all these digital telemetry and stuff in the car, and they're taking away what it means to be a race car and all this, and I'm like, some of that shit's pretty cool what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's like, and the cool thing about NASCAR is all the stuff that they pioneer on the racetrack eventually trickles down to stuff for your car. So they're coming up with some cool shit. But I don't know. A lot of sports in general, I'm finding myself watching like not non-Americanized sports. Like I like watching rugby. It's one of my favorite sports to watch. I like rugby. I like watching lacrosse.
I think the last sport I watched that I really liked was fucking men's doubles volleyball.
During the Olympics, man, I would get into curling. Like that's just
curling's
cool.
a good one.
The hockey team, the local minor league hockey team, and the couple of towns over, they do a learn to curling league, and they do it for like 6 weeks in the winter when nothing's going on, and it's like an hour drive there and an hour drive back, and it starts at like 6:30 and runs until like 7:30, 8 o'clock. So it's like really hard for me to get off work, rush over there, do it, and come home. It would just be a long evening before bed. So I haven't been able to do it because it's during the week. But
That'd be fun though.
I would love to try it. I mean, I want to see what it's like to slide that far on your feet and see if I can not bust my face.
Yeah, well, that's one of those classic sports that literally like it's timeless.
Yeah, well, I didn't even know it existed until like 2 Olympics ago, and
Curling?
yeah, I never heard of
I
it.
used to watch that all the time when I was little.
Yeah,
I love that shit.
I had never heard of it. Never. Well, I also live in the South too, so
Oh.
cold weather, on the ice sports are pretty rare.
We don't talk about them.
Yeah, like we're lucky to have a hockey team.
The other really good one to watch, which is it's kind of like volleyball, but it's not, is Sepak Takraw. That one's super fun to watch.
I never heard of it.
It's basically it's mostly played in Asian countries, but it's basically volleyball, but with your feet only.
Oh,
So same
I've
exact court,
seen them.
same exact net, but the ball is like a third of the size of a volleyball. and they use just their feet. So you see these dudes, they spike it, but when they spike it, it's them going up, doing a backflip, kicking the fucking ball across the net. Like,
So all the hacky sack kids that we went to high school with would be gods.
yeah,
Yeah, got it.
yeah.
All right, that's
And
cool.
like that one's super fun to watch just because they're doing insane shit and like backflips and all this crazy shit because you gotta hit it with your foot. But yeah, they do a lot of the hacky sack moves, where you do the little cross in front of you to try and set it up.
I could never do hacky sack. Never could do
Oh,
it.
oh, I used to play so much fucking hacky
No,
sack.
I was terrible at it. I just had no coordination for it. But when I back when I well during the time around that time when I got the terrible shin IV, I
Yeah.
was I was dating a girl
And the
and the
$300.
$300.
Don't forget about
True.
that.
It was
That's
$300.
probably gone in like a week.
Absolutely, yeah, right, straight through the liver. Um, but the girl I was dating was Indian, and her dad was huge into cricket. And I think he played when they lived in India. Like he was on some team, So he was like,
Yeah.
so he was like the Al Bundy of cricket, So he was watching cricket all the time. So I sat down with him a few times. It's like I'm trying to get to know this guy because I've been dating his daughter for 2 years. So I would sit and you would try to watch it with him, and I don't understand that game.
I don't know how it's played. I
I
don't
don't.
know the rules. I don't know the little sticks and the things you got to knock down that sit on top. I don't know.
Sometimes you're supposed to hit the ball, and then sometimes you're not, and sometimes you're supposed to hit the sticks with the ball and the bat, and then you run. I don't know. Like
I couldn't tell you what's bad or good, or
Yeah.
like when they hit the sticks.
Yeah.
Half the time it looks like it's good, and half is bad. And I'm like, well, I don't get it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. Like I mean, I learned the rules of rugby by just sitting down one weekend and watching a rugby tournament on like one of the Dish Network West Coast channels or some shit like that. And
Yeah.
I watched a whole weekend of rugby, and I was like, okay, I understand the game for the most part. Maybe not some of the subtle nuances of the game, but for the most part, I get how this game works. Um,
But you
I
can tell when somebody scores.
Yeah, and and it makes sense. You just move the ball from here to there, and if you do, you
Yeah.
get points. Done.
I still don't know how you score in cricket.
Yeah. No, I've watched. I've probably watched a total of 25 or 30 hours of cricket with him over the course of the time I was dating his daughter, and
Yeah.
no fucking clue.
No idea.
No idea. Like I don't get it. And then what made it even worse is he was watching it on a satellite channel, and it was all in Punjabi or Hindi, whichever language he spoke when he was in India. So
Yeah.
which
Oh,
would
so
make it
you
even
don't
worse.
even know.
So
You
I
don't
have
even know anything.
no
Yeah.
clue. Like none. I feel like I could have muted rugby and kept up with it and understood the game.
Yeah.
This game was basically it was in another language, and
You might have been. You might have been better off muting that. You're probably getting more confused by all
Yeah.
the talking, and you're trying to figure out what means what. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I never could figure it out. So, but I mean, I like watching some of the non traditional American games, like no football, no baseball, stuff like that. I don't watch basketball. I hate basketball. I've never
Yeah.
been
I've
able
never
to get
been
into
like.
it.
Yeah. I've never been into it.
None. Like if baseball season, I'll watch a couple of the World Series games. I'll do that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to basketball, I don't watch any of March Madness. I don't watch.
I don't watch any of it.
the
Everyone gets
NBA.
all excited, and how's your bracket looking? I'm like, I don't.
Yeah.
I know there's college teams playing, right?
Yeah. And it wasn't until just a few years ago did I actually understand how the bracket system worked when you're filling out your brackets and doing that.
Yeah.
Because I was like, all right. I was always under the impression that you had to pick all this and get to the end, and your team needs to win and all this for you to do it. And then I was like, well, if you got 32 teams and you get 5 teams wrong, you're done. I mean, how do you come back from that? And they're like, oh, it's a point system. And I'm like, no, Done.
What? No,
Done.
thank you.
Yeah, it's like,
I watch golf before I watch fucking basketball, dude.
I watch golf sometimes. I'm actually kind of interested. Have you seen that there's a new golf league, or I guess that's what it's
No,
called.
I don't
Um,
watch golf either. I'm just saying if I
it's
had to choose.
well, like the main thing is the PGA, the Pro
Yeah,
Golfers
yeah,
Association.
PGA Tour, and then there's another big one.
Well,
I can't remember what it's called.
this is a new one that's only been, I think this is its second year. It's called the Live League or something like that, and it's backed by a bunch of Saudi Arabian money.
Oh,
And so there's a lot of questions like, okay, the Saudis have a lot of human rights issues and stuff like that, and
they're into golf?
yeah, and they're pulling some really big name golfers away from the PGA, because the PGA is like, well, we're just going to make it to where if you play in other leagues, you can't play in the PGA, and
Okay.
and the live
I'll go where the money is.
yeah, and the Live League was like, we'll pay you $3 million just to come play. Like, you don't even have to win. Like, just $3 million just to play 18 holes.
Can I play?
Yeah, and these big golfers are like, fuck, I'll go do that. So
Yeah.
they're not playing in the PGA; they're playing in this other one. But last year, they didn't have a TV contract, so like you would have to like watch it on YouTube or stuff like that. This year, they're picked up by the CW, so the CW is
Oh.
going to carry these games. So I was like, I might watch it just because of the salt that it's created within the golf community.
Yeah, it sounds more interesting than
Yeah, but
fucking basketball.
yeah, that's exactly it.
I don't watch too many sports. The only sport I ever really watched was football. And then occasionally here and there during like Olympics, I'd watch like CPOC or like volleyball but I don't know.
Yeah, and
I was more into playing it than watching it.
yeah. Yeah, CW's picked it up. That's the best.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's the absolute best.
It airs right after Dawson Creek.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, that's pretty much it. So, for the first time in ever, I actually have a reason to watch the CW. So, it comes on after Dawson's Creek, but before Vampire Diaries.
Yeah.
So, you got to catch that sweet spot in, CW primetime.
Man, I wish if I was a TV producer, I would be trying so hard to make a reality TV show about like anyone, even a lower level like Saudi prince.
Okay.
The fucking the amount of money they have and the life they live.
Oh, is obscene.
I mean, everyone talks about and sees like, oh, have you seen Tom Cruise? He flies his own private jets and this and that. I'm like, that is nothing compared to what they do over there. They got trillionaires over there.
Yeah. Well, they don't care. You see them driving, luxury or supercars that I've never heard of, and you see them driving them, and they're driving them in the desert, and they're not wearing seat belts. The passenger is like sitting on the window, hanging out. They're doing like 130 through the desert and lose control and flip it, and everybody gets thrown out. But amazingly,
and they just get out and walk away.
Yeah,
and they just leave it there.
Yeah, they leave it there. And they're fixing they're fixing their turbine and putting it all back in place, and they're all fucked up, but they're fine. And then they just go like, "Oh, I've got like 6 more. It's fine." It's a completely
I can't remember where
money.
I can't remember where I heard it, if it was a podcast or a YouTube thing or what, but I heard some guy who lives over there he'll like buy Lamborghinis and stuff, and every time like the registration comes due or whatever, he just fucking leaves it, just walks away. He's like, I don't even bother. I don't want to fucking deal with that shit. Fuck it. They can have it. Whoever finds it can have it.
You're exactly
He
right.
just walks.
But,
oh, dude, the 2-wheel driving is fucking insane. I've never seen anybody else do 2-wheel driving other than like on a closed fucking course that airs on ESPN. I'm talking like YouTube. All you see are Saudis down the highway at 100 miles an hour. Have you seen the one of the dude changing the tire while they're driving on 2 wheels? It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and that's the thing is, not only do they have a ridiculous amount of money to do this with, but because they have a ridiculous amount of money, they have nothing to do with their day. So these guys, that's how this shit, they come up with it. Because they're sitting around with nothing to do going, fuck it, let's see if we can get this car on 2 wheels. And it's just like no normal,
No,
rational human being would ever do this. Not because it's dangerous. It's just because they don't have the money to like,
no.
you know, uh, $800,000, $2 million, whatever that car is worth. It's nothing to them. Literally nothing. Like they'll go out and they'll wreck a $2 million car and
Yeah, it was nothing.
nothing. And here I am, buying a $20,000 car and cringing at the thought of getting a scratch.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
I heard a story of fucking Lil Wayne. I've heard some of Russell Peters too, but I remember when Lil Wayne went over there to perform for like a Prince or something. He was paying him like 100 grand or something to do like a private performance or whatever. Lil Wayne was like, all right. So he goes over there, and when he landed at the airport, they were giving him some trouble because he had like a bunch of bling, and they were like, oh, you have to declare anything over 20,000 or whatever. And he's like, fuck this shit. And he turned around and was leaving, and I guess Lil Wayne got back on his plane and was getting ready to leave, and somebody called and told the Prince. And the Prince came down to the airport, started fucking yelling at everybody, firing people and shit. And he went up to and got Lil Wayne, and he gave him like 100 grand, like cash, and like a fancy watch. And then he's like, "No, you come, you perform." And like he was talking to Lil Wayne, and Lil Wayne was talking about, yeah, he was just talking to me, and he's like, "I'm so sorry for the inconvenience and all this stuff." And he was asking me, you like Lamborghini or Porsche? And he's like, I thought he was just asking like which I prefer. So I was like, Lamborghini. He's like, what color? And he's like, wait, what? What color? And he's like, black. Lil Wayne is like, 6 days later, a black fucking Lamborghini rolled up in front of my house. He's
yeah.
like, they don't fuck around over there. Like
No.
it's a whole different thing.
Well, I think one of the things that gets me with just some of the way that they do things over there, they nobody pays for gas. Like there's gas stations open and you just go up and get what you need. They have so much oil and so everything is happening right there. They have no cost.
Yeah.
It's literally just bubbling out of the ground. So if
You just get gas.
yeah, there's just gas stations. You just drive up and get what you need, and it's all paid for by the state. It's a couple of dudes that work there are state employees or government employees, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's mind boggling the difference. So
No.
they just don't care.
That's what I'm saying. They need. Wait, I don't want to see what the fucking Kardashians are doing. I want to see. I want to see the new fucking season of Saudi Prince.
Oh, they were doing a TV promo during the last game. It was I want to marry a farmer, and it's like this country boy is wanting is it's kind of like The Bachelor, but it's a country boy and all the girls are from the city, and they have to do like sit in a country things like ride a horse or stuff like
Oh.
that. And I was like, it's
Yeah,
the
shovel
dumbest,
manure and
yeah,
shit.
it's the dumbest fucking thing. Like I don't get.
I don't get how there's so many of those shows. I get like one. I get like The Bachelorette or whatever. Sure, all right. But then you hear there's this one and that one and
Well,
that one. The City Boys and the fucking.
yeah. Well,
I don't get it.
What gets me is just the fact that people are watching this. Lots and lots. I mean, not me, not anyone I know, but apparently somebody's watching this enough that they're making more of them. I mean, how many
Yeah.
seasons of The Bachelor are there? How many seasons of The
I
Bachelorette?
don't know.
I mean,
It's
first
got to be
off-
the same people watching Avatar because I don't know any of them either.
exactly. I mean, because I know it's on ABC, which I can't tell you the last time I watched ABC. Outside of sporting events, I can't tell you the last time I watched one of the CBS, NBC, Fox. Those
Is that still? Are those still like free channels?
yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have cable, so I don't know.
No, what you got to do is you have to get one of the digital receiving antennas. It's,
Yeah, I'll just go on YouTube and watch what I want to
Yeah.
watch.
But I bought mine off of Amazon, and I think I paid like $15 for it. And
Yeah.
it runs off of coax, and I just screwed it in, and like right now I've got it wedged up my wall behind a picture frame, holding it in place, and that's how I watch the football games. because I don't like watching live events online because I don't like the delay, especially like I said, like how a few of us get together and we'll watch the games together. So if
Yeah.
if two people are watching it live and I'm watching it streamed, there's a 5 or 10 second lag between live and the stream, so they're knowing what's happening. So it's almost like getting spoiled, you know. So I went out and bought
Mm.
one of the digital receivers just for
For that.
watching sporting game. It's like $15, like whatever.
Hmm.
Um,
That does it reminds me of something I want to figure out. Okay, so we used to have this thing with me and Junior Ace and Bonks, which any of the Drunken Halo people should sort of know who those people are. But it's been so long. But we used to do this thing. We'd watch a movie together every month.
yeah,
And this was before it was as easy as it is to do now. Because almost every platform, Hulu and Netflix and everything, and now with Discord, like it's super easy to watch it together.
yeah,
Because the same thing, like you were saying, you're trying to watch a live event. If there's a 5-10 second delay, we're watching something completely different.
right.
And you say something, and I'm talking about, you know, a different thing that happened or is going to happen, and you haven't seen it yet. So, but yeah, we used to watch movies together like every month, and we would always watch like not bad movies, but like movies you'd never watch on your own. You know, like B movies or like
Oh yeah, that
fucking
sounds
weird fucking movies.
like a lot of fun.
Dude, it was great, and it added to it because we were all in there together chatting, and we'd be like, "What the fuck? What is he
Yeah,
talking about?"
it,
Like,
it's almost Mystery Science Theater level of.
yeah,
Yeah, I totally get it. That sounds incredibly fun. We should do that.
yeah, yeah. That, and I was wondering, I don't think you can stream it. I'm trying to think about the legality. What if you stream just the audio? What if you stream it on a tiny screen and you minimize it and it's
Here,
mostly just us?
here's
It's literally
here's
Mystery
what we
Science
do.
Theater.
Here's what we do. Here's what we do. Is we'll pick the movie, all right,
Yeah,
and we'll say, okay, it's this movie and it's on Netflix, all right, and we say, okay, we're gonna watch this movie. It's on Netflix, and then when like Netflix has that watch together feature, so it's like
yeah,
if everybody hit play, okay, hit play with us, and then you watch it, and then we're getting our audio. Now you're watching it. That's how we should do it, because any other way, like it all gets picked up. Um,
yeah. The politically incorrect theater podcast,
yeah,
the Pit
the
podcast.
Pit podcast.
Yeah,
But because you can't do it any other way, because I know the capture card that I have, I don't know how it does it, but it immediately picks up on anything that is copyright.
yeah,
So it immediately blocks it. So that would be out, at least on my.
yeah. Well, and
I
that's
think
the
there's
hard
hacks.
part. Living in America, everyone wants copyright to everything.
Right. And I think, yeah, I don't think there's any way around it that would not get us in a credible amount of trouble doing it.
Yeah,
Like, I would be.
that's what I was thinking. We could stream our like reactions,
Yeah.
and you could maybe have like a mirror or something. I don't know.
So I was on TikTok maybe a week ago or so, and
Yeah,
I was just doing what we do, just thumbing, and every once in a while you get like somebody's doing a live, and it was this girl, and she was playing a video game, and what she had done was she set the camera up like next to her, facing the TV, and then
yeah,
she took a mirror and put it like next to the TV, so it was reflecting her image back off the mirror, so you could see
yeah.
her
So
watching
face
the game.
cam.
I told her, I was like, all jokes aside, this is brilliant.
Yeah,
Especially, and she was sitting on the floor like playing a Nintendo game, like an old NES game, and she had like a big bowl of popcorn in front of her, and she was just playing like something like Mario or something. And I was like, that's really clever. Like everybody has a face cam, with their streaming, so you don't have the ability to face cam and you don't have ability to stream, so you're just using your phone in a mirror, and never seen anything like that. It was genius. Absolute
Yeah,
genius.
see, you do like that, but have the movie playing
Yeah.
in the mirror real small, and it will be backwards, and like, cause like there's those weird YouTube channels that'll like upload a whole movie,
Yeah.
but it'll be like flipped in reverse or like minimized or like some weird shit, and YouTube's like, okay,
Well, I guess what we need to do as well is we have to get like the Chinese English translation. Like, have you they on YouTube is Star Wars Episode 3, but
yeah,
it's the Chinese translation. Like, it's in English, but it was the original script was translated to Chinese and then translated back to English. So it's completely out there, and
yeah. The
it's
only other
so
thing I
good,
can think
so good.
is, the only other thing I can think is we don't stream it, uh, but we just invite whoever and we just do it through Discord or something. I don't know.
We could do that and just all watch it that way together, and just it
Yeah.
not be a stream thing. But
Yeah, and we don't even have to have it doesn't have to be mystery. Like we can have we want to do our little podcast where we discuss them, but I was thinking maybe like once a month we just watch some bad movie
yeah,
or whatever
I'm
or controversial movie or whatever cuz
totally down.
the movies you'll never watch by yourself.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Or the movies that I end up watching by myself that would be way more fun to watch it.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, yeah, a Discord video, maybe do that, yeah, once a month or something.
Yeah. I know we had a
Let's
few
do it.
movies back when I did it with Junior Ace and Bonks. There were some that like just weren't streaming on certain or like all of us couldn't get it. So what we would do is I would load it on my computer and then I'd share my screen through Discord and I'd hit play. So then we'd all be watching it together through my screen on Discord.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. We need to. Let's start it. Used to watch anime. Red Spartan had a podcast. Oh well, that's. Yeah, I think I remember that being a thing. Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
it.
we're not to figure out what movie what's going to be a good like first movie.
Well, if we're gonna do Mystery Science Theater style, the first movie we need to watch is This Island Earth. It's a really bad black and white sci-fi movie. It's
This
so
Island
yeah.
Earth,
This Island Earth.
This Island or 1955.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
it is so out there. It's great. But if you're gonna watch it, you watch it on the Mystery Science Theater did their actual full feature length movie, and they did
Yeah.
that as their feature length movie, and oh god, it was so good. But yeah,
Oh, those would be some good ones. The bad horror movies and the
yeah,
bad like
um, yeah, no, we should absolutely do that. That sounds.
I've never seen Human Centipede.
Let's do it. That should be our
Have you,
first one.
have you ever seen Human Centipede?
Nope,
Never seen it.
nope. Let's do it. Let's set it up for one day in February. Let's see. In theory, let's see. Today is the 22nd. This is episode 92. So we got 8 episodes until 100. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So March 19th would be the 100, episode 100. Because remember, we missed a couple of weeks and it pushed us back.
Yeah.
So uh, maybe either the week after the episode 100, and do that as our celebration. So whenever it happens, instead of doing episode 101, the very next one is we'll do like a group movie watch.
Yeah, something. We'll have to figure out a good one. Human Centipede, I think, would be a good one, but
Yeah, I think that's an excellent one to start with. Oh, all right,
because it's like one of those bad B horror movies.
all right. So, are we going to talk about it or not?
Oh, we don't talk about that.
Are we not going to talk about? Okay, I'm just saying. I mean, part of me feels
We're
like
not supposed to talk about that anymore.
we should, because there's a lot of vindication and I told you so that we, almost like we need to take a pig's victory lap because we saw the writing on the wall long before anyone
Well,
else
they
did.
came out and said that it's not true.
Yeah, okay, fine. Then sure, yeah, okay. Um, well, I don't think they. Well, they came out and said that it's going to be around for a long time. They didn't. But what gets me is they didn't refer to the new game. If you read the tweet, it was like this and this is going to be around
Here
for
we
a
go.
long
I
time.
had to look it up. Okay.
Are you with me?
So, yeah, we just won't talk about the game that shall not be named.
Yeah.
But 343 said, and here's what they said in their statement. Halo and Master Chief are here to stay, which number one, nobody said they were going away.
Exactly.
343 Industries will continue to develop Halo now and in the future, including epic stories, multiplayer, and more of what makes Halo great.
And notice
Pierre
what
Heinz,
what wasn't specifically mentioned.
the game that shall not be mentioned.
Yeah, I think that's really, really telling because they would have been better off just saying Halo was here to stay and just left it at that.
Well, nobody said Halo was going away.
Right.
That's the other thing I've been so confused by the community. We're talking about the game that shall not be named in the studio that shall always be shamed.
Yeah.
They don't have a proven track record, and so we had heard rumors online. It was spread through Reddit first, and then went viral on Twitter that supposedly 343 was kind of like, I think Q is the one that had talked about it, predicted that it seemed like they were making movements toward just being like the publisher
Yeah.
or like the main basically a studio head, but like a studio that is the head of Halo. But other studios make the majority of the content. They
Yeah,
make the
and
maps and the multiplayer and the campaign.
The way Call of Duty does.
Yeah,
they've
like how
got-
Call of Duty is.
Yeah, they've got, I don't know, it was a certain Infinity, Raven Studios, and 5 or 6 other ones.
Yeah, they got Treyarch and
Yeah,
they got a
Treyarch.
bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they got like 4 or 5 different studios because there's some that make like Warzone content. There's some that make multiplayer. There's some that make the single player. There's some that make the ones that are both. Yeah. So kind of like that. We'd assumed, that it seemed like that's the direction they were going because so many people were leaving and have continued to leave and have since left as well and have also been laid off because of the Microsoft layoffs.
yeah, that's the big thing.
They lost a ton of animation. They lost a ton of artists. They lost a lot during those layoffs. So I don't know how many people they still have in 343.
I don't know.
A fraction of what they used to have.
Yeah, I would say, in my estimate, I would say they're less than 50%.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
Well, and Staten is no longer there either.
Right. And he took people with him when he left.
Yeah. And I don't think he was part of the layoffs, but I think he left because of the layoffs.
I think he left because there was writing on the wall. I think he
Well,
left because
no,
there's.
I think you're right. He left because of that and used the layoffs as an excuse. This is a perfect time to do it.
Yeah.
But
I think that. I have no doubt in my mind that the franchise is going to continue. None.
yeah. Well, nobody said Halo was going away. We just said somebody else is going to make it. You guys are no longer going to make it.
Yeah, which of course 343 interpreted that as something completely different. The old red herring argument.
Yeah.
Just pick something completely different.
It's so confused. All the people I saw on Twitter too, when 343 made that announcement, Halo's not going anywhere. Everyone's celebrating. I'm like, what are you guys celebrating? Halo wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
It was finally going to be made by somebody else that might actually pay attention and make a good game.
Well, I mean, God, I hate saying this. You know how bad things have fallen here at Pigs Pod for literal years. We propped up the Halo franchise and went out of our way to shit on Call of Duty. We did everything we could to shit on Call of Duty. And now I'm sitting here looking at it going, farming out certain things to certain public or software companies, Okay, this company over here is really good at making multiplayer maps. So just that's all they need to be doing. All right. Then this company over here is really good at the co-op stuff. So boom, that's their department.
Yeah.
And that's such a great idea.
Yeah,
Instead of
we're now saying that we wish Halo would do what Call of Duty has done.
yeah, yeah, no, that's exactly it.
That's how
And
far we have fallen.
that's how far. Like that's why I said that when I was watching the Cowboys game, like that was the like confirmation that we were in the darkest timeline if the Cowboys won. So
Yeah.
we're like I feel like we're headed down a dark path, and I think we are. I don't think Halo will ever be the same ever again.
Yeah. Well, it already hasn't been the same. We've had this discussion before. We're going to have it again.
Yep,
Halo 1, 2, and 3 were the greatest shooting games of all time.
agreed.
And why? Because they all felt the same. They're all part of the same universe. There is no difference between those. One you can dual wield, one you drive a mongoose instead of this, one you do that instead of. But they're all the same fucking game. They're all the same feeling
Yeah.
with slightly different graphics and different maps. And sure, Halo 3 threw in equipment, but it didn't change the overall feel of the game. As soon as they made Halo Reach, they completely changed the feel of the game.
Yeah.
They had Bloom and Forge looked different. It wasn't the same. It was a whole new thing. Fucking jetpacks and all this other stuff. I remember all the people complaining and bitching about jetpacks and the sprint and the this and the that.
I liked the addition of the equipment. I thought it was really. I felt it was balanced. It was like, yeah, okay. You've got a jetpack, cool. All right, but let's say I choose.
But you still had to pick it up.
Yeah.
You didn't just get a jetpack.
Right, or even if you played games that had the loadouts that you picked, like okay, you pick up the jetpack, and you're playing a large map. Say you're playing the Blood Gulch map, and you take the jetpack because you can get up high, and see right off the spawn. You can go up and see. Cool, that's really useful. But if I take sprint, now off the spawn, I can get back into the fight faster. So it's like, which way do you want to play? And it gave Halo flavor. It was like you have this really good meat that you're eating, like a really nice steak, and adding the equipment in is now you got some potatoes to go with it, some mashed potatoes, and you can flavor them how you like. Do you like some sour cream? Do you want some butter?
No.
You know.
See, I would say it's like steak sauce.
No, yeah, that's true too.
You could argue, does it make the steak better? Some people say yes, some people say no.
Yeah, some people are going to
But
say
having it as an option on the table gives everyone more choices.
yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I liked the equipment.
Yeah.
In Halo 4, I really liked.
Well, we're not to Halo 4 yet. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead. Right, do your thing. You finish up Halo Reach because
I've often said Halo Reach is one of my favorites, and
agree.
I've thought about it often why. And it's mostly because of community creations in Forge.
Yep, 100%.
For two reasons. Some of the best, even to this day, some of the best made Forge game types and mini games. The fucking Avalanche, the one where you go sliding 18 million miles an hour on the Warthog.
Speed Halo.
The Avalanche one where all the golf balls come at you and you try and hit them away.
Just the toilet flush.
The Halo one where you drive around and shoot people off and try to get them stopped. All those were originally created like in Halo Reach.
Yep.
But the other thing that Bungie did so fucking well is having tons of different playlists that had these in a playlist that you could just hop in.
Yep.
I could go in doubles, and I'm playing doubles on community-made maps. So every week, I'm playing on brand new fucking maps, a whole new experience. And yeah, sometimes there was like a glitch or a spot you could get out of a map, and people would start exploiting it, and then they'd have to take it out of rotation. But like having all that variety just at your fingertips, ready to go, kept it fresh. Every day felt like a new game, but in that same universe, and you were having the time of your life. Whether you were using sprint and evade and jetpack and fucking armor shield and all that shit or not, it was fucking.
Well, you want to know one of the things that really blew my mind after I really thought about it with Halo Reach. There was 3 map packs for Halo Reach, and
Yeah.
it wasn't until late. I think Halo 4 had already came out when they made those 3 map packs. They made them free. And it was just, free DLC that you could add to Reach because they've moved on to Halo 4. Um, it wasn't until then that I played those maps. Never seen them before.
Yeah.
And you know what? Um, I could have gone through Halo Reach and never played those maps, and it wouldn't made a damn bit of difference to my enjoyment of Halo Reach. Like those
Oh, the
extra maps,
community maps were
yeah.
good enough.
Then not only were they good enough, even if that particular map wasn't good enough, there was 70 other ones you could choose from to play. So it's
Yeah.
like there was so much content and user-generated, user-driven content that the Bungie DLC, I didn't even care. Then there was one map on, I think it was Halo 5, that was a remake of a DLC map from Halo Reach. And somebody's like, "Oh yeah, this is a such and such from Halo Reach," and I was like, "What? Like I've got 1,000 hours
Never
in
seen
Halo
it.
Reach. I don't
Yeah.
know what you're talking about." And then I went back and found it in the map pack DLC. I'm like, huh, I'll be damned. And it played like a new game to me. It's like never
Yeah.
seen this map before.
Well, the other thing too, to go back to your steak analogy, Halo 1 was like a nice little sirloin.
Mm-hmm.
It was fucking great. Everyone loved the shit out of that.
Yep.
And people got a bite and wanted more. Halo 2 was like they took that and they made it a ribeye. And you're like, holy fuck,
Yeah.
this is the best. And everyone started playing off of it. And like the clan system was still hasn't been done today. Nobody has as good of a clan system that Halo 2 had.
Nope.
The hierarchy and having clan matches and all that shit. Then Halo 3, you just got an even bigger, juicier steak. You got a fucking T-bone. It's covered in fucking butter. And you're like, holy fuck, it's so good. And then they threw in Reach, and it was kind of the same steak, but now they threw like some sides at us. They threw some potatoes and sauce, and so now we're like, oh fuck, it's the whole thing. It's still what I love, but now it's this other stuff. And then we got Halo 4, and it felt like they gave us a big juicy burger. And you're like, all right, well, it's good.
Yeah.
It's not what I'm used to, though.
Yeah. And
You took the meat and you changed the core of it.
yeah.
It's still beef, but it's not quite the same. It's different now. And it just, every year with Halo 5, then we got an even smaller burger. And we're like, what the fuck? It slowly they keep pulling further and further away from the core of what Halo was, which was fun community shooting,
Yeah.
a community shooter game with community content, just like what Reach had. Community content turned to 11, just cranking out hit after hit, unlimited amount of enjoyment. You're not playing the same fucking map night after night, and that was always our biggest complaint about Call of Duty. Where like every one of these feels like the same thing, and they use the same map. The new Call of Duty has Nuketown, just like every other fucking Call of Duty has Nuketown. How is that going to be fun? Oh, cool, the graphics are different. It's the same fucking map.
But to be fair, if we didn't have Blood Gulch in the game that shall not be named,
Yeah.
which I don't know if it does or it doesn't. I don't know if
I
that's.
don't remember.
I don't know, but I mean, I don't think it does. So that's a huge problem that that game doesn't have. Like, how do you not have Blood Gulch? Just the basic.
Well, then
box
how do you
game.
release Halo 5 with not only Forge not ready to go, but also like 20% of the core game types?
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Yeah. And well,
You didn't even give us a full course meal. You gave us just the fucking burger and said, yeah, it's good though.
Well, and for me, I like your burger analogy. I did. You're going from a steak to a burger with Halo 4. They changed the recipe of the bun in Halo 5.
Yeah.
Like, they just threw it on a bun. They didn't, in Halo 4 they took the bun, they put a little bit of butter, and they toasted just nicely toasted the bun before they
Yeah,
put
it was
the
still
burger on.
good.
Yeah,
I would eat it.
Yeah. But and I kept coming back to that toasted bun. Like, even though people were playing Halo 5, I was staying in Halo 4 because I loved it. And I ate so many of those burgers with so many of friends that I still game with today. So there were so many of us sitting around the table together, eating our burgers together, that made Halo 4 really special to me.
Yeah.
That's you and I were playing back then, around that same time. That's how I met Mystery. Mystery and I,
Yeah.
we were playing. I randomly met up with Mystery and Zansulu in a Halo 4 lobby, playing. It was just 4v4s. It was just plain old 4v4s, and I got matched up with them, and we won, and we came back to the lobby, and it was, remember when you were back in the lobby, you talk shit to the other team.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
missed that.
yeah. So we
The
were,
post game shit talk.
yeah. So we were like talking shit and making like sex noises, and it was fun. And from that point on, I sent Zany a friend request, and I sent Mystery a friend request, and every Friday night, Mystery and I were gaming in Halo 4. So like he's one of my best friends when it comes to playing, when it comes to streaming and online community and whatnot. I mean, and so Halo 4 will always be, it's that really good juicy toasted bun, perfectly fried, the big thick cut French fries, the big thick,
Yeah, fucking perfectly cooked.
Yeah, thrown with some seasoning salt over top of it. You can, any of your choice of dipping sauce. Do you like ketchup? Do you like ranch? Do you like honey mustard? Whatever. Boom, it's all right there. It's so juicy. And then Halo 5 came out. And
well, then they gave you just the burger. They didn't even give you the bun.
Yeah.
The fries.
Yeah. Well, they gave you the fries, but it was the fries that were like leftover. When you get to like McDonald's at like
like the end of the shift.
Yeah, it's like it's after lunch and the lunch rush has already happened, so they're just not as good.
Yeah.
But yeah, they instead of throwing it on a bun, they threw it on 2 slices of bread. Just plain old
and they forgot to salt the fries.
Yeah, and it was just like, so and then comparing that to, I'm going to jump off to another game, before we even get into the travesty that was the MCC, and I'll tie this all together.
I forgot that even existed. Yeah. I blocked that out of my head.
It was so bad.
Yeah,
I'm really excited for Hogwarts Legacies coming out.
That looks great.
I'm not a big Harry Potter fan. Heather's huge. She is, she was at every book release, midnight release, at Barnes & Noble getting the books. She loved the books. So we're going to get the Hogwarts game, and I'm really excited for it. Like, there's some really cool stuff. But it's been delayed, like, 4 times. It was supposed to have been released, like, the beginning of last year or something. And it's now been pushed back, and it's got a hard release date. We're getting it in, like, February 5th. So it's a couple of weeks out. And the more I see of this game, I'm like, I am so glad they kept pushing it back. I don't know what it was they were fixing, but they were taking the time to fix whatever it was that they were fixing, and which I learned later, it's there was some like balance issues with some of the spells, like the Forbidden Curse, the Avada Kedavra, the one that's like the Death Curse. Like they were trying to figure out how to put that in the game and not break the game, because it's like, oh, if you learn that spell, that's all you're going to do is just run around and use that spell. So what's the point of doing anything else? So
put a cooldown on it or something.
Well, they put it at the end. Like there's a bunch of side missions that's like
house. Oh, to get it?
Yeah, there's side missions, and each house has its own set of side missions that runs congruent with the main storyline. And once you finish a house's side missions, you get that spell, which is right before the end of the game. So so that's balanced. I thought that was cool. But anyway, I don't mind pushing a game back. I really don't, and I don't. I hope Hogwarts does really, really well. I hope it sells a bajillion copies, because maybe that's the message that we need to send to developers and be like, give us a complete game, give us something. We don't mind waiting. You can, they talking about how they've had all these leaks, and I know they're not leaks. They are targeted information releases to certain people.
It's smart marketing.
It's smart marketing, and I know that's what's going on with Hogwarts. Let's apply that to these shooters.
Yeah.
Let's wait out. I will wait an extra year, for a Halo game. If
Well, look at it's so funny. Some games people just it's inexcusable. You can't keep delaying it. And then other games like Grand Theft Auto. How long have we been playing Grand Theft Auto 5 for?
10 years,
And people are just like, "Oh, I'm absolutely fine." It's like, how come for Grand Theft Auto you're fine waiting as long as possible?
because that game's still fun,
Yeah.
and that's the other
Well,
thing
that's
too.
true, and they keep adding more
Yeah,
and more
and
shit
they
to it.
keep giving you
It's
content.
still supporting it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is how many 10-year-old games are still being supported? Not many.
Not many.
Yeah. Um. So, but so Grand Theft Auto is such an enigma in the world of gaming
Yeah,
because
it's a weird one because I think it's literally the number one selling game of all time.
and
If
and
you look at across
yeah,
all of its sales.
and the way they did their, they made all of their DLC free because they knew they could put the weight of the cost on the backs of people that would pay stupid amounts of money for stupid things in the game. Like I remember when Switch was like, "Well, they're coming out with yachts." Okay, well to buy the yacht, you got to have whatever amount of money it was, and you could get a shark card with that amount of money, but it was $99.99 to get to buy enough money to purchase the yacht. And the day it dropped, it fell on his payday, and he's like, "Fuck it," and he bought the yacht the day it dropped, and we played it, and I was bad for it because we would get on like a Friday night to play, and I would be low on ammo because I spent the week shooting everything that fucking moved, so
Yeah.
I would drop like $10 and buy a shark card for $10 and get enough money to like re-up all of my ammo 3 or 4 times because I'm going to play for like 5 hours tonight and we're going to burn through ammo. So I'm going to have for $10 I can play 5, 6, 7 hours tonight and the rest of the week, a few hours or an hour here, hour there, and then just do it again every week. So there were so many people that was like that with GTA, and all the content was free, and it was
Yeah.
fucking cool content. I mean, the heists and the growing the drugs and the gun running, and I mean, it was such
No,
a
they're really smart. But you're
but
right. It is kind of an enigma. Not everyone can do that. Not everyone has that amount of money.
yeah, and I mean, and people are still playing Red Dead.
Yeah.
That just blows my mind. I see TikToks of streamers that are still playing Red Dead, and they're looking for Easter eggs, and they're still like, well, we think these are still out there. There's still things to find. Like there was something on in GTA that was on the mountain that was like a symbol or something, and nobody knew what it was, and it wasn't until like 8 years after the game was released did they like learn it had something to do with a UFO and a cutscene in the multiplayer that you or in the solo player that you could trigger by doing certain things at a certain time of the day with certain
Yeah.
weather. I mean, everything had to line up to make it happen. And that was 8 years after the game came out, and people are still trying to, break the code and get the secrets of the game. You know, not many games are out there that are doing that now.
Yeah. Well, it helps. It's an open world game, and you can do. There's so much fucking shit to do in it, especially when the role playing world took over, and now
Oh my
there's even
god.
more shit to do in it.
Yeah, and that's the same thing. The same thing in Red Dead. There's a whole role playing community within Red Dead, and
Yeah.
you know,
See, I've
it,
never played Red Dead. It looks fun, but I've just
oh,
never.
it's some of the best storytelling.
Yeah.
I mean, I was more invested in Arthur Morgan's story, which he's the main character of the game, because you get three endings depending on choices you make. You get different endings of the game. I was
Hmm.
more invested with his story than I
Yeah.
was in any other video game I've ever played.
Yeah.
It was, and especially if you get one particular ending, no spoilers, you just fucking tears. You grown man crying at a fucking video game because you were so in with this character. You were so invested. Um, but that's Rockstar. That's what they're known for. They do storytelling really fucking well. but you're not going to see that in the Halo franchise. But even if we could get 20% of what Rockstar does with
Yeah.
their storytelling, let's do it. Put a huge time on it. Let's get it right, because that's what I thought we were going to get with the game that shall not
Well,
be
that
named.
yeah, well, that's what they talked about. They're like, oh, it's going to be open world. It's going to be kind of like that. And that's what I was hoping. I was like, I know it won't be like GTA 5 where you can go in buildings and buy an apartment and do that. I'm like, I know you won't be able to build a base and like customize it. I know you won't be able to go to Los Santos Customs and spray paint your warthog. I get all
Oh
that.
God, yes,
But I was
please.
hoping it would actually be like they just couldn't figure out how to make an open world, but also have a linear story progression along an open world, kind of like how GTA does. You know, it blocks off certain parts of the map. They tried in the game that should not be named, but I never finished it. It just wasn't.
It was
It,
an
it doesn't. It wasn't done well. I wasn't enjoying myself.
it was an okay story, okay at best. And
Yeah.
what I didn't know going into it was you needed to have played. I think it was Spartan Ops, not Spartan Ops, Spartan Assault or Halo Wars. That's what it was called. You needed to have played Halo Wars 2
Oh yeah. To
to
understand the.
understand the storyline. So I didn't realize that was going to be a thing. I had fortunately played Halo Wars and Halo Wars 2. So when they started talking about the main protagonist of the game, I'm like, oh, okay, he's back. But if you went from Halo 4 or Halo 5 and just jumped straight to Halo Infinite, you have no clue. You'd have no clue what was going on. You wouldn't understand, who's this new person, who's this new AI, who's this antagonist that you've never seen before. Um, so I really feel like they dropped the ball. I mean, I didn't feel like it. They dropped the ball. That's absolute certainty.
Yeah.
Um, I
Well,
just
you can't release without Forge and limited everything else.
yeah.
Halo 5 barely made it the way it was, and this one was even more limited than Halo 5. We kept talking. I hope they learned. They learned, right? They definitely won't do that again.
Well, especially when Master Chief Collection released, and it had so many problems. It was what was it, 2 or 3 years, 2 or 3 years, Oreo, after the
Yeah.
game dropped, that I could play Halo 2.
Yeah.
Halo 2 did not work. If we were in a um, multiplayer lobby that had Halo 2 maps in the rotation, I got dashboarded. As soon as it popped up and said whatever map, um, I was dashboarded. I made it to, it was either the fourth or fifth level of Halo 2, and it would go on to the next level, and it would load, and it had that little loading bar. It would
Yeah.
make it like halfway, and then it would
Yeah.
just
Then
stop,
crash.
and it would just stop. It wouldn't do anything. It would just sit. Like there was one night, I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna let it run all night. I'm going to bed." Got up the next morning, and it was still right where I left it.
Yeah.
You know, so
Well,
so there's
it's
that,
unf-
well, I was gonna say that was the problems of Master Chief Collection. All
Yeah.
right. Then Halo 5 comes out, and they tried to reinvent the wheel with their packs and their Achilles armor and all of these other things that they tried doing, and they added even more sides to the steak to the burger, but they weren't good sides. Like who's going to get fried okra and
Wow.
and
I
asparagus?
I played maybe 2 hours of Warzone or something. I probably played more, but I don't remember it because I fucking hated it.
Although I like
I
fried okra, but that's beside the point.
I did not like Warzone. The only thing, the only moment I can remember playing Warzone is when I played with Unishek and he was a fucking dickhole. Like he was way too serious about playing Warzone. Guys, we need to go get this base. What are you guys doing? We
Yeah.
need to go get this. I'm like, bro, chill. It's fucking Warzone.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that had a lot of promise. With that particular game type, had a lot of promise, but it became more.
It was a nice new thing for people that wanted a new thing,
Yeah,
but
and
they didn't have. They still didn't have the main thing.
yeah, and that's the whole thing is like get the core done right, and then add your stuff. Don't do it the other way around.
Yeah.
Don't add this new thing that nobody knows about, and not have all the good shit before that. Give us the new thing. Like, that's cool. Like I said, I played the game. I liked it. It was fun. It was
Yeah.
really fun to have like a firefight mode playing against AI with your friends. Like, that was fun.
Yeah.
But give us,
Again, the problem was they should have delayed the whole game and waited for Forge.
yes,
Because the problem not releasing with Forge, you then take the core of Halo, which is a community game, like we were just talking about Reach, playing Avalanche and fucking the Slidey game and the Halo game, and
hmm
you're taking all that community variety that keeps the game fresh and all of us want to play all the fucking time. You're taking that and you're putting it solely on just your limited amount of maps and modes.
yeah,
You're literally making it a futuristic it's basically Call of Duty.
yeah. It's Call of
It's
Duty
the
with a
same.
longer time to kill.
Yeah. Like,
And
and then if you delay and you go, oh well, Forge is coming, it's like, oh, great. Then nobody would be playing by the time it comes out.
yeah,
And you have to hope that some of those people come back, which some did, but it wasn't enough to hold it. And then again, when they did release Forge, it was limited and there was glitches and problems. So they sort of learned, but they didn't learn. Because this time they still delayed Forge, but they delayed it even longer than they did when they did Halo 5. But
there's
they didn't learn.
a really sad like gamer, and I don't think it's an analogy. It's a gamer story or a gamer what is it? It's like a story that has a teaches a lesson, whatever you want to call that. Um,
Yeah.
there's a saying that was that I heard once about gaming was there's certain people that you've gamed with throughout the years that you never knew that the last time that you played with them was going to be the last time you played with them. You know,
Yeah.
and I don't put that towards Halo 4, Halo 3, 2, 1, ODST. I'll go back and play those. I know I haven't played those games in a long time, but I know that's not that last time I played it's not going to be the last time I play it. Halo 5 on the other hand, I can tell you the last game I played. It was on one of the Warzone modes. It was on the snow map, and I was playing with some of the drunken Halo guys, and they were all like super concerned about going for the Achilles armor or whatever you had to do for that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this is stupid. And that was it. It was I played with them one night, and they invited me into the clan, and they were using Slack, I think was what they were using to kind of coordinate things.
Yeah.
And
Back then.
back then, yeah, and the clan only had 16 or 20 spots for you. That was it. So something like that. And they put me in the clan, and I never played after they put me in the clan. And I remember 6 or 8 months after that, I got a message from Travis going, "Hey, I don't want to like be mean or anything, but you haven't played any of this for a while, so I'm going to remove you from the clan so I can put this other person that wants to play." And I was like,
Yeah, they
"Hey,
wanted the Achilles armor.
yeah." I was like, "That's fine." I was like, "You no ill wills. I don't. I have no desire to go back and play."
Yeah.
And I can tell you that's the last time I'll play Halo 5 because
Yeah.
I don't care if
That whole Achilles armor thing was funny too because it was sort of smart when they did it because it kept a lot of people playing and it kept a lot of the drunken Halo people playing. But the funniest part about it, as soon as we unlocked it, I never saw anybody again.
yeah.
Nobody ever played again.
Unlike when you got recon armor, back in like the Halo 3
That was
days,
actually special.
that was special because you had to do was it that where you did the Vidmaster achievements, or is that how you got the samurai helmet?
No, that's how you got samurai.
Okay, yeah, because I
The
remember
recon, you had to play with a Bungie employee or something. I can't
yeah,
remember.
because I
Yeah, it was
remember
something different.
when I unlocked the recon armor. I mean, that's it. Everything changed. Like all of my customization. Like, nope, recon armor. That's what I'm wearing. I earned it.
Yeah.
It's mine. And then when you got the Vidmaster achievements and I got the samurai helmet, I really would
Yeah,
like
the Hayabusa or whatever the
that's what
fuck it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got that armor or whatever it was. That was a huge achievement. Huge. And even though I had the armor, I still wore the recon armor because I love that style. That felt like Halo armor, unlike The samurai armor just didn't look like Halo armor.
Yeah.
But it was like really cool.
You're just reminding me of more the game that shall not be named. They took away our armor customizations.
Yeah.
Like you were just talking about. You had one that you fucking loved, and a lot of people liked Recon,
Mm-hmm.
but they then took that away and said, "Nah, you get this whole kit."
Yeah, but or if you like,
Or you
you have to unlock a core, and only a certain number of armor or types of armor will fit that core.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
only these 5 shoulders will fit
yeah,
it, and all of them are ugly. This one shoulder on the other one looks way better, but you don't like the main core of that one because it looks ugly.
and and that's one of the reasons why I loved Reach so much.
Yeah,
The customization of that armor was unlike any other. I mean, it was unlike any other Halo game, but it was also unlike just about any other game that was out at the time. It
yeah.
was,
There was fucking a million combinations. You had
yep,
500 different fucking helmets, and
yep.
then every different shoulder, and you could do the left and right different, and your knees different, and your foot's and
And then
yeah.
you would create that Spartan, and then you'd play the play Reach. Um, yeah,
Well, and
exactly.
then you had the fucking stench, and you had the grunt birthday party,
Yeah.
and you had the lightning thing, and you
Well,
had
but and it made replayability to go back and play the storyline because I've got this really cool armor set and I'm going to play in the story, and then my armor's going to be in the cutscenes. That's fucking cool. My god awful pink Spartan with grenade bandoliers and all this shit, which
yeah.
I made it as outlandish as possible, was in the cutscenes. Like that's fucking cool. That's a big thing for gamers, is seeing your character that is your avatar in the game. And I get it that you don't do that with with Chief, because Chief is your character. So you're not going to get that customization.
Yeah, but they've been saying for 10 fucking years that Chief is going away as the main character.
Yeah. Well, and that's why
And then they chicken out and bring him back as the main character anyways.
and that's one of the reasons why I liked Halo 4 so much, is you had the main storyline with Chief, and then
Yeah.
they gave
The
lore.
multiplayer was something
Yeah, it was
different.
lore. It was a backstory. It's like, all the multiplayer is just training grounds for the
Yeah.
Spartans.
Well, wasn't Spartan
Genius.
Ops in Halo 4 too?
Yeah, and then you had the one season of Spartan Ops, which we needed. We needed another chapter of Spartan Ops. That was
Yeah.
great. So much fun. Um, but it was
I'm trying to think of what I liked from Halo 5. I think there's two things that I liked. I I I did like when you were jumping and you zoomed in and you kind of hovered for like just a
yeah,
split second. I really did like that. I thought that was a fucking dope mechanic. I hated fucking Spartan Charge and Ground Pound and all that shit. I fucking hate. You know how often people just be sprinting, you come around the corner, boom, Spartan Charge, cool, free kill, thanks, cool game.
yeah,
Fucking, that
yeah.
pissed me off more than anything in the whole fucking game.
The
Not
Spartan.
having Oddball for almost the entirety of Halo 5, I don't care. Take out Spartan Charge, I'll be fine with not having Oddball, even though Oddball's fucking cornerstone of Halo. But the other thing I really did like from Halo 5 that I feel like most people didn't, which I wish would come back, was fucking Breakout. I loved Breakout.
Yeah, that
It's
was
not a mode for everybody,
yeah. Well, that was.
but
I didn't play Halo 5 enough to sit there and say, oh, I liked this or I didn't like that. I didn't like it. Like
yeah, you didn't like the game as a whole.
yeah. I
It
didn't
was
like
a
the
whole. The pacing was different. Everything
Yep.
was different with all the armor abilities and shit.
Yep. It changed. It changed
You know why?
multiplayer.
You know what was great about Breakout? It didn't have any of that shit. There was no Spartan Charge or Ground Pound. All those abilities were disabled. I don't know if that was why I liked it, or I just liked the round based, one per life. Basically how Rogue Company plays. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, maybe if I'd have stayed around longer, I would have played that and enjoyed it. But I
It was
just
just a different game.
yeah, I just didn't like it.
Halo 4 already was barely Halo. It was still Halo because it had the core community having a
Yeah.
good fucking time shooting shit and running people over and doing races and doing sword battles on the back of mongooses and doing stupid shit.
You
Halo
know,
5 didn't have as much that fun factor.
what I haven't seen, I didn't see in Halo 5, and I still don't really see in any of the clips from the game that shall not be named, there was so many times that we would play on a Saturday night, and it's really Sunday morning because it's like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. You've been gaming all night long. You're tired. You know how you get kind of like stupid tired. You get stupid and goofy when you get really
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah.
Well, that's when it's like, I wonder if I can get a mongoose up there, or I wonder if I can fit a warthog through that hallway. You know, then you would see these clips from like Halo 4 or Halo 3 was huge for that.
Yeah.
People trying to get a warthog where it was not supposed to go. And you would just see funny clips of them trying to do it and something exploding, or you think you've almost got it, and then around the corner comes a grunt with two stickies, and oh fuck, those were
Yeah.
fun. I don't see those anymore. I don't see.
Yeah.
And that's
The main problem why you don't see it
nobody's playing it.
in the game that shall not be named? No, there's two. That's the second problem. Nobody's playing it. The first main problem is every time somebody discovers a glitch or something cool you can do, they fucking patch it out.
That's a fair point.
And then it never spreads. There was only 1 or 2 or 3 videos made about it, and it got patched out. And then you don't see any more people doing jumps. Think about the jumping videos just in Halo 3.
Oh yeah.
How many hundreds of thousands of hours of jumping videos for Halo 3 are there? Hide and seek spots on Halo 3. Fucking
yeah.
Getting the Warthog there or here or there, or the glitching and getting the Scarab gun. All 343 would have patched that out in a fucking heartbeat. Can you imagine?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like they don't understand that we want to have fun.
Yeah.
They go, no, this is the game I gave you. That's the game you're going to play. Stop finding fun stuff to do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get how their management doesn't understand that's why the game's not successful. Like, it blows my mind.
I'm just so, I've said this, oh God, I've said this for years on this podcast. I've just been so disillusioned with Halo. It's the game that I grew up with. It's one of the few video games that I can tell you exactly where I was the first time I ever played Halo.
Oh, me too. That's the only one. I think the same exact thing.
I was I was visiting a friend. I think we were in the 10th grade, and I went over to their house because he invited a bunch of friends over, and it was going to be like we're going to stay up all night and play video games and goof off. And I get there and they're playing Halo 1, and they're playing the Tombstone map, and I was just like, what is this game? This is so cool. And they had 4 controllers, so we were playing 2v2s and stuff like that, and I was immediately hooked. And like I said, I can't name a single other game that I can say. And I've went to a bunch of midnight releases. I can say I do remember playing Halo 4 for the first time, because that was the first Halo game that I went and did a midnight release. And I took off work. I've done other midnight releases
to play it.
Yeah, I took off work. I scheduled myself off, and I remember I came. It was cold as fuck the night, and I was standing in line. And I remember standing in line, and Heather went with me, and she was sitting in the car. She's like, "I am not standing outside with you." She's like, "I will go with you. That's cool, but I am not standing in line in this freezing ass cold to get a game I'm not going to play." And I'm like, totally get that. So I remember standing in line. There was like maybe 25 or 30 people in line, and I get to looking, and I notice, and so I text Heather, and I was like, with the exception of the dad that brought his son, I'm the oldest person here. And I was just like, and I remember getting it, and I was like, I'm going home. We get home. I immediately put it in, do the install, and I wanted to play through the campaign before I did anything else. I just wanted to know, okay, what's the story going to be?
Yeah.
And I remember doing that. But that first time of playing Halo was like, this is unreal. What the fuck is this game? And
no, it was something special. And that's the other thing too, like, we are kind of, our generation's playing less and less. We have responsibilities, and the world sucks, and everything's too expensive. You have to work nonstop now.
Yep.
So the little time we get, we would love to play Halo, but uh, it needs to continue on. It needs to be good for the next generation. And we're literally watching it die and fail in the
Yep.
next generation, not give two shits about, in our mind, what was the greatest game of all time.
Yeah. And that's what sucks because, you know, I would love to, and Isabel and I have played some of the, some of the older games. We've played through Halo Reach and stuff like that. Um, but I know that if another Halo comes out, I don't think I'm going to buy it and just be like,
Yeah.
that's it. And I hate to say that.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, if 343 actually does another one, I probably won't buy it.
yeah.
If it's actually made by somebody else, which I had
All
hoped,
right.
and I'm really confused by the community how they're like, "Yeah, I knew it wasn't." I'm really confused why everyone's celebrating the bad news. That if 343 is actually going to continue making them,
I'll
they have
agree with
not
you.
been impressive.
I'll agree with you. If 343 makes another one, I'm out.
Yeah,
If they parse it out to other studios and they just act as a publisher, cool. I'm there.
yeah.
Um, but
It's hard because like Halo was one of, like you said, one of the few games I was excited for. Like I
yeah,
can't wait to play it.
yeah,
Taking days off of work and shit to play it.
yeah. I
I don't.
remember, you know, I remember like we had group chats on Facebook or whatever, and it was like, okay, all right, I get off work at 5. I should be home by like 5:45. Have dinner around 6. I should be on 7 o'clock. You know,
Yeah,
and everybody's like, oh, cool, I'll see you on then, and here comes Friday, and everybody's on, and I remember games up to Master Chief Collection. We'd have too many people in our group
yeah.
that
We'd
we
always have to split.
yeah. All right. Well, I guess we're playing big team battles. So you play big team for like 4 hours, and then as enough people drop out, like okay, now we'll go back over here and play. We'll jump into the 4v4s and get sweaty. You
Yeah.
know, and it just I don't have that now with just about any game, and that's really sucks. You know, I,
No,
I
that's what I was gonna say. I can't. Other than when the next Hellblade drops, I might take a day off of work to play that because
um
that game's truly special to me. But
the
I can't think of any other game I'm excited about.
right now for me, I'm more excited um, for our D&D games. Like I'm
Yeah,
so excited for Wednesday. Um, I've just the more I've read that story and like oh my god, I cannot wait to introduce the characters to this world and let them play in it because it's unlike any of the other D&D worlds that I've played in. Um,
yeah.
it's a huge left turn from Curse of Strahd, you know. So I'm really, really excited for it, and I'm more excited for that. I'm more excited. Like I've been trying to get on a schedule for streaming and be like, I need to stream because if I'm going to grow, my Q Stick brand and whatnot, and try to make a little bit of money off of doing this,
Yeah.
I need to be
It's hard
better.
when there's no good games.
I had that
You have to
issue.
rely on the old library.
Yeah, I had that issue last night. Um, I um, I guess I'll branch into my cream of the week because we got to wrap this up soon.
Yeah.
Um, I randomly picked a game, um, off of Game Pass yesterday. Yesterday or it might have been Friday. It's called Before We Leave. It's a
Never heard of it.
it's a civilization building game. You start out on a
Hmm.
you start out on one island on this planet, and you gather resources and build technology, the typical type of civilization building thing. Then
Huh. Yeah.
you get to the point where you can build ships, and the whole premise of the game is um, some cataclysmic event happened on your planet, and the only people that survived built and went into these bunkers and waited for the whole planet to recover, and then they emerged from the bunkers, and now they have to rebuild their society. And it's been 100 generations or more since this happened. So you're on the island, and you might find ancient technologies, which you don't even really know what it is. Even as out of the game, like I don't know what that's supposed to be. Um, but you develop your technology, and then you expand out to other islands. And so far, the first planet that you're on has 3 islands. You gather your resources and you get what you need. You can build a spaceship, and then you can colonize another planet that has 3 islands on it, and you gather resources and you just keep expanding. And I'm assuming after you expand on the planets in your solar system, you go out beyond it. I'm assuming. But I like the civilization building games. But I picked it just randomly because it was a civilization building game, and started playing it Friday, and I really really enjoyed it.
Hmm.
And then
It looks
Saturday,
kind of neat. The
yeah,
graphics are interesting.
yeah, it's kind of cartoony, but it's fun.
Huh.
It's if you like civilization games, the user interface is a little clunky. The controls were a little clunky, and shifting between menus and movement around could be a little goofy sometimes. Um, but for a free game on Game Pass, it's great.
Yeah.
But and then last night, we've had a little bit of a cold spell here where I live, and normally when I'm down here downstairs, I've got my wood stove going. Yesterday, I was like, man, I don't feel like building. It had been raining, so all of my firewood, even though it's covered, has a little bit of moisture, so it's going to be a pain in the ass to get the wood stove started. You know what? I was like, I'm just going to go upstairs and play upstairs. It's a Game Pass game, and so it you can play it on the cloud. So I was like, I'll just go upstairs and sit on my couch and play. And I put it. I got on the Xbox upstairs, and I went to the cloud streaming, and I went to cloud stream it, and the aspect ratio was off on my TV. Like, I have an old flat screen TV, and it was off.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the TV to adjust right. The game didn't have any graphic settings in the in-game settings. Just couldn't get it because all of the menus are on the outside of the on the edges of the screen, and everything was like off the screen, so you couldn't see what you were doing.
Oh, you couldn't
Yeah,
see what you were
yeah.
doing?
So I was like, fuck. So then I like, well, maybe it's the Xbox, because that's a Gen 1 Xbox. I've never streamed anything on it before. Maybe it's that. So I came downstairs. I got my Series S, and I took it upstairs and plugged it up and set it up. Same thing. So I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
it's got to be the TV. It's an old, off-brand flat screen TV. It's probably that. So then I was like, okay, well, I'll play something else. So I brought up World of Warships. I was like, I'll play that. I'm playing by myself. It's mindless shooting. I'll play that. And I started it. Aspect ratio, everything was exactly right. I'm like, okay, so it's got to be the game. So it's just a game thing. Okay, whatever, no big deal. But so I was like, but I didn't really want to play World of Warships. Like, I wanted to play this new game that I've been binging all weekend. I want to play that. But I was like, but I don't want to go downstairs and start a fire. So I was like, well, fuck it, I'll just deal. And that's honestly why I ended up watching football for this. It's because I couldn't, like, the game I wanted to play, I couldn't play where I was at. So I was like, this sucks. So I was going to play it today. I came downstairs and I played for a little while today. And then Switch messaged me and said, hey, the football games are on. And I'm like, now I'm invested to see who's going to the championship games. I'm going to go watch those. But it was just like, yeah, I didn't really want, outside of the brand new game that I just wanted to binge, I didn't have really anything else I wanted to play. It's like, I didn't, I play World of Warships. I don't mind playing it by myself. I've been working on unlocking a ship. It's taking a ridiculously long time. I've got 300, 400 hours in this game, and I've not unlocked the ship that I'm trying to unlock. So, and I know it's going to take me another 150 to 200 hours of playing it to unlock the ship that I want. And so I'm just like, I've just accepted my fate.
That's how they get you.
Yeah. And there's no real way to like buy it. There's no real way to buy the materials to like to upgrade your progression for it. So I'm just I'm just stuck kind of just
They didn't have the
grinding.
foresight to put a monetized way.
Well, there's a bunch of other ships that they've monetized that you can buy, and I have no desire to buy anything for this game anyway. Like, I'm not buying anything for it.
Oh.
But it's just
That's
like,
how they get you. They want you to buy their ships, not
right,
earn.
yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, I don't really want to play that, and then Me and Obi Wayne, we played some Battlefront, which Battlefront 2 is another game that's just it stands the test of time. I mean, it came out what, a decade ago, 8 years ago, something like that, and it's still fun. The multiplayer's still fun. It's got a four man co-op, and you're playing against AI, and you're playing battles and whatnot. So if you have people that don't want to, they're not really competitive gamers. They don't like playing the competitive shooters, but we just
Yeah.
want to go in and just shoot shit like the original Battlefront games. That's a perfect game type, and we play it all the time. Izzy and I play it all the time. Me and the twins played it all the time, and it was just mindless good fun. But I was like, I don't really want to play that, and I'm looking at my library, going, I don't want to play that. Oreo's not on, so I don't really want to play Apex, and and so all this stuff, I'm just like, fuck it. And I'm just so to not to tie it all back, to not have a Halo game that I can just jump in and play. Like there's no Reach, there's no Halo 4. I mean, yeah, I got them on the Master Chief Collection, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the old reliable when there was
yeah,
nothing else, then you just played that.
yeah. But the problem, and I think you can, I think it's changed now. I think you can download individual games now and not the whole damn box. But
I think so.
it's still like if you want to, unless you like, oh, I only want to play Halo 4. If I want to bounce around to some like I love Halo 2, like you can customize the playlist that you want to play. I'll play Halo 2, Halo 3, and Halo 4. And like that's it. That's all I want. No, excuse me. Halo, yeah, and Halo Reach. So I don't really play much Halo 1, but like 2, Reach, 3, and 4. So you can customize it. And so if I want all of those games to kind of get that flavor that I like, 80 gig download, 100 gigs, whatever the fuck it is now. So it's like I've cleared it out. It's no longer on my hard drive because the Series S only has a 500 gig hard drive, and I'm going to use 20% of my hard drive for one video game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just
Not
like,
worth it.
It's not worth it. So it's like I'm just, I'll set it on the back burner, and then when we do our yearly Avenging Crusade Memorial stream, I'll go ahead and re-download it, and then as soon as we're done, I delete it. That's what I did.
Delete it. Yeah.
That's what I did this year. I downloaded it just for that stream, and then as soon as we were done, before I went to bed, I cleared it off, went to bed, and it just aggravates me. But yeah, but my cream of the week is before we leave. If you like civilization building games, it's cartoony fun. I have fun. It gets tedious, which you've got different islands generate different resources. So you've got to go to this island to generate this resource, to bring it over here to do this, to take it over there to do that. And now you've got planets involved, so you got to travel a spaceship from one planet to the other, and it takes 2 or 3 minutes to to get from one place to the other. And then there's a wait time when you're loading and unloading your ships. It might take 5 or 10 minutes to load a ship if you're loading a lot of cargo. So it gets a little tedious, but mindless, civilization game. I love them. So that's my cream of the week.
It looks interesting.
Yeah,
It'd be a good one. That's the nice thing having Game Pass. You can try some, and if it's not fun, you just fucking all right, delete it.
yeah, love it. I love Game Pass for that. It's
Yeah.
the greatest idea that has ever been made is a subscription-based service with access to hundreds of games.
It's great.
And then now that like 90% of them are cloud streaming too, so you don't even have to download them. Like
Nope.
I will play the game, I'll play it on the cloud. If I like it, I download it. If I don't like it, I'm not out anything. I'm not out oh fuck, man, I put 3 hours downloading this fucking thing and it sucks. Now it's like, don't like it. You don't have to delete anything, no downloading, just move on. Fucking love it. Love it.
A lot of them you don't even need an Xbox or anything. Play it right on your phone or fucking right through your TV.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a crazy good deal, and I don't understand how Sony people don't understand that. But I was having a hard time thinking about my cream of the week, but then I remembered something
Okay.
that I've been like binging all fucking week long, and I don't know how I didn't think of it. Because normally we do like shows or games or whatever, so it's sort of a show. But I assume you know who Adam Savage is, the MythBuster. If you don't know who Adam Savage is, you should know MythBusters.
Yeah.
I don't know many people that don't know Myth, but even though it hasn't been on air for 6 or 7 years,
And
6 years, I think.
the one girl's dead now, isn't she?
No, Grant
Grant.
passed away.
I know it's one of the Mythbusters had died.
Yeah, he had a brain aneurysm, I think, if I
It's
remember right.
one of those aneurysms I was talking about.
Yeah,
Doesn't help.
he was probably getting dizzy for like a week and just didn't do
Don't say
anything
shit
about
like
it.
that. Don't do that. Don't do that for your anxiety. I can tell you, don't do it.
But anyways, Adam Savage, whether you know MythBusters or not, Adam Savage is a fucking fantastic. I fucking love Adam Savage. He's one of those guys that's just he's got a nice voice to listen to. He's smart, and it's just a good time listening to him. And so Adam Savage has started a YouTube channel quite a few years ago, a long time ago. Why he was still doing MythBusters and stuff. And it's called Tested. Which there's a ton of stuff on there. There's all kinds of different content. There's stuff where he goes like behind the scenes at ILM. He'll go behind the scenes on certain movies and see this and that, and that's all great and stuff. But my favorite stuff on Tested is called Ask Adam, where it's just Adam Savage in his garage in his little shop, just answering questions. People email in and then people will chat on the live stream if they're watching the live stream, and they'll be like, "Hey Adam, what was your least favorite moment on Mythbusters?" Or, "Hey Adam, what's your view on life?" Or like anything and everything. Sometimes it's about Mythbusters, sometimes it's what's your favorite tools for building this certain thing. And then he goes, and Adam's one of those people, he's a lot like Kevin Smith. You know how Kevin Smith starts talking and doesn't shut up?
Yeah, it takes him an hour and a half to answer
And he
one
goes on
question.
about he goes on about 18 tangents on the way, and at the end he wraps back around and then answers a question. Adam Savage is really good at doing that too. And like just some of the stories I've heard, he had a story I had no idea. Adam Savage worked on Bicentennial Man with
Really?
yeah,
Robin Williams.
with Robin Williams, and
Yeah.
he was telling some stories about when he met Robin Williams. Like one morning, at like the craft services table. They were getting breakfast, and Robin walked up, and it was just Adam and Robin just started talking to him, and he just went on for like 20, 30 minutes doing all these different characters, a dolphin doing this, and some guy doing this, and talking about bagels, and just being Robin Williams. And Adam was like, it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. I had to tell him, Robin, I have to get back to work. Like he's like, because Adam's there working, he's
Yeah.
doing a job, and he has a boss. He's gonna get in trouble, even though who's gonna? He's like, I'm talking to Robin Williams. I'm sorry. He's like, I had to tell him, and I still remember to this day. I had to tell him, Robin, I got to get back to work. But luckily, he was telling a story about another time on the set where 'cause Adam Savage is like super anal about his tools. He has like really crazy nice toolboxes and setups and all this stuff. Well, he had him on the set, and Robin Williams walked up in full Bicentennial Man minus the helmet. So the whole body, everything was all done. It was just, but then it's Robin's head on the Bicentennial Man. And Adam had walked into like his little work area, and Robin was just in there like looking at his toolbox, at his tools and stuff. Robin was like, "This is yours. This your stuff." And Adam's like, "Yeah, I'm just really particular about my stuff." And Robin was like, I love it. And they just started like talking about tools. And then Adam, because he didn't work on the suit, he was doing other stuff on the movie. He was fascinated by the suit. So Robin is looking at all of Adam's tools, just fascinating, asking questions. Well, Adam is like picking up his arm and moving his body around, looking at the suit and asking him questions. How did they do that? Oh, it's this piece of plastic. Oh, wow. Like,
Oh yeah.
Like-
I've done that with costumers at
Yeah.
conventions. I just
yeah,
roll
so
up
you know
to
all
them.
about it. You're just like
Yeah.
looking and you're like,
Yeah.
can I?
No, no,
Just
it's
look
straight
at
up.
your-
I remember there was one time I was at a con, and it was it was the first time I had seen somebody do the Shore Trooper from Rogue One.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen one before. I mean, I've seen it in the movie, but I'd not seen a costume in person. And it was a girl that was wearing it. And I walk up to her, I tap her on the shoulder, and I'm like, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I'm with the 501st. I've not seen this costume. Is it okay if I get like uncomfortably close to you to look at your armor? And she's like, oh, yeah, yeah, totally. So I'm literally doing that. I'm like lifting her arm. She's talking to like three people,
Yeah,
not, and
not
I'm
even
just,
paying
yeah,
attention.
and I'm just looking and like, that's not soft. That's hard. How, same thing. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
totally
you
get that.
totally get it.
Yeah, I love it. That's
Yeah,
great.
and Adam's a super nerd. Another thing that you would like on Adam's channel, sometimes he just builds cosplay stuff.
Yeah.
He
He,
has like an hour and a half episode of him building the Mandalorian gun.
He
Like,
did. He did a TED talk on cosplaying, and
yeah,
it's on YouTube if you've never seen it. He tells a story how he dressed up as an anime character, and I don't know the anime, but I think it was a Faceless was one of the anime. I think is what it
yeah,
was.
yeah. The face,
Yeah,
yeah. I've heard that story many times.
and the way he tells the story, and the way he's like, to these people, it's not just a costume.
No,
And it's also not just like you're Spirited Away. Thank you, Rabble. That's what it is.
yeah,
Um, and it's not just these nerds that are pretending. It's
no. Studio Ghibli is a whole religion
yeah,
to start.
yeah, and it's so much costuming is so much beyond just the costume, and it's not just the I'm a stormtrooper, I'm gonna do and say move along and shit like that. No, it's just that these are characters that we grew up with and we idolized and we thought was so cool, and just getting to, for me, when I wear one of the costumes, and what my favorite thing is at one of the baseball games years ago, I was wearing my TIE pilot armor, and I saw this guy from across the area, like the area where you come into the baseball stadium, and
Yeah,
he had his like 7-year-old daughter in tow, and he's all but just dragging her towards me,
to
and
come look.
and he's so excited, and he's telling his daughter about um his love of Star Wars, and he loves the TIE fighters, and he was like, oh, what's your favorite TIE fighter, and so we talked for a few minutes, and he's like, hey, can I get a picture with you? And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of what we're here for. So it's just him and his daughter. So he asks like a random person, like, hey, would you take my picture? And he's standing there, and he's got his daughter um in his arm, and I can't see him, but I know he's like right next to me, and
Yeah,
I hear his daughter's like, can we go now? And he's like, no, just another minute. And I'm like, this dude he's my age, he's in his 30s, he's a nerd with responsibilities, and
yeah,
it's those types of interactions, that's why I do it, to see my generation see these costumes and go, man, I grew up with this. I remember, playing with a X-wing when I was a kid, and pretending I was a pilot and all this, and like, yeah, and I get to embody that now, and I'm not here because some people in the 501st, they put on the costume and they're in the character, like they are the character, which is cool.
yeah.
Like, I get it. The majority of my costumes, it's not what I'm John wearing,
The
the
costume.
costume.
You're
Yeah,
fangirling.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm fangirling just to wear it, let alone. But I wear it so much for the reactions of the dads, and
Yeah.
or
Well, meeting the like-minded people that are also fangirling.
yeah, or walking with Darth Vader. There was a convention that we were at, and we were walking around a corner, and this little boy, he was probably 8 or 10 years old, is walking around the corner too, and he runs into Darth Vader. I mean, right into his legs. And of course, when you're wearing, especially Darth Vader, your eyesight's right here. You have nothing from
Yeah.
nothing down, and probably nothing 3 or 4 feet in front of you. You cannot see. And so of course he didn't see this kid, and just barreled over the kid. And I wasn't wearing my TIE pilot. I was handling for Darth Vader, and I saw this kid. He gets knocked down and he lands on his ass. And before he can start crying, because it scared him, he just does this like slow pan up, and and Vader's Eric is trying to lean down to like see what he just hit, but to do it he had to like pull his shoulders back and like do that, and it looked incredibly intimidating, and it had nothing to do with that. It was just he was just trying to see what the hell he hit, and
Yeah.
then that kid was just in awe, and his dad like catches up to him, and his dad like, picks him up and is like, "Hey, I'm so sorry this happened." And as they're walking away, the dad's like, "You just got stepped on by Darth Vader. How cool is that?" And I was like, "That's why I do it. That's why I put the armor on for little moments like that. Is why I do what I do, because it's, you're giving something to somebody that is, that's a story that the kid probably isn't going to tell, but Dad's going to tell that story for who
Yeah.
knows how long. Because the kid got run over by Darth Vader, and I think Vader was mad. And it's like, no, he was just trying to see what the hell he stepped on. I mean, but yeah, no, but Adam told that story about costuming and whatnot, and about the character that he was, and how he was given the chocolate coins out, and then people were giving them back, and he didn't quite understand why. And
Yeah,
then,
and well, he forgot as
yeah,
the character. Yeah,
and then he
you don't.
remembered, you don't want the coins and stuff like that, and like that's the type that's so cool, that you got this, this character that you obviously know isn't real, and you are just a regular person. You see this character, they do something in the character, and you're just like in the moment, and you're sucked in because he's giving you chocolate, which is fucking cool. But then you're like, oh fuck no, I can't take this. This is bad luck. I'm gonna die.
Yeah,
You
you're
know,
not supposed to take
you're not
anything
supposed to
from
take it.
the.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I just like that I love
No,
love
he
Adam
he
Sandler.
has. That's another reason I like his channel. He has so many. If you just want to listen to stories of nothing but cosplay and nerding out about cosplay, he has probably 50 hours of that. Him
Yeah,
talking about being in Chewbacca, him talking about the Spirited Away, him talking. And then if you just want to watch him with tools and in his workshop, talk about sanders and drill bits and like different micrometers and different tools. He has hundreds of hours of that. If you just want to hear him talk about behind the scenes stuff, he has stuff where, because he worked on some of the Star Wars films, because he worked at ILM in his earlier days.